6:04 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing, getting you ready for a busy pre-Thanksgiving show. We got a lot of ground to cover. We got attorney Franz Borghardt in with us this hour for a little Legally Served. Next hour, we got our insurance commissioner, Tim Temple. We got Congressman Garret Graves. And the third hour, State Representative Mark Wright and George Bell, both listed as guests for the third hour. So no time to waste. Let's dive right in. Here comes Top Stories and Trending.
Number 5.
Starts us off in Gonzales, where a domestic violence call resulted in a standoff with a suspect on West Worthy Street. According to police, officers responded to a call from a woman around 7:40 p.m. alleging her live-in boyfriend, a 35-year-old man, had strangled her. Afterward, the man barricaded inside with an 8-year-old. After the man did not voluntarily surrender, felony warrants were issued as well as a search warrant. He did step out the back of the house, but was promptly arrested there. Police say the standoff lasted around 2.5 hours. Nobody was injured. The man's being booked on domestic abuse battery and other felony charges.
Number 4.
A pair of Baton Rouge police officers are on the job as an internal investigation of their behavior from an incident in 2019 continues. The officers are seen on their body cameras offering to hold down a 14-year-old boy so his mother could whip him with a belt. They mocked him while his mother whipped him and asked him over and over if he was going to tell the officers what they knew about a shooting that he was reportedly a witness of or had video of. The officers were identified as Adam Rose and Jermaine Javis. In a statement, Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse said the mother requested the officers assist her to discipline her son. Officers did comply with her request and held the 14-year-old male down on a bed while the mother hit him with his own belt. We're going to talk about this in Legally Served with Franz Borghardt coming up in about 20 minutes from right now.
Number 3.
The Baton Rouge Area Chamber is considering exchanging its traditional Chamber of Commerce model to become an economic development organization, but what that looks like remains unclear. BRAC's president and CEO, Lori Melanson, longtime economic development professional, who was named as president and CEO of the organization back in May, this is after Adam Knapp moved over to C100, shared the news in an email this week to the organization's investors. Melanson noted the move symbolizes BRAC's search for individuals and organizations interested in investing to support the organization's mission of advancing economic development compared to a transactional relationship often fostered through a traditional Chamber of Commerce model.
Number 2.
Governor Jeff Landry yesterday called for LSU and the university's Board of Supervisors to punish an LSU law professor who was perceived as being critical of his students who voted for President-elect Donald Trump. In a lecture the day after the general election, Professor Nicholas Brenner told students who voted for Trump on the merits of his policies, despite their personal feelings about the man's conduct, that they must prove that by the way you conduct yourself and by the way that you treat other people around you. The excerpt goes on from there. Landry wrote a letter to the Board of Supervisors asking them to look into the matter, as LSU professors are prohibited from utilizing state resources to influence public policy. They're also prohibited from intimidating, but that's all part of a Louisiana statute that the governor referred to in his letter. We'll talk about that with Franz coming up in just a little bit as well.
Number 1.
2 people were arrested after deputies seized a large amount of drugs from homes in East Baton Rouge and Jefferson parishes. Deshaun Jones, 42 years old, and Lakeisha Butler, 41, were both arrested on drug dealing and gun charges, as well as illegal possession of drugs in the presence of a minor. The arrest came down on Monday. Deputies had raided a Marrero home. They found cocaine, fentanyl, amphetamine, and other drugs. They also arrested Jones and found photographs of drugs on his phone linked to a Powerbrook Drive address in Baton Rouge, which he admitted to taking at that address. East Baton Rouge Parish deputies then raided the Shadowbrook subdivision home. They found more drugs. They found more guns. Butler was then arrested as well. What was trending there, John?
Okay, I thought first of all you were telling me to wait.
No.
Right.
What?
Israel and Lebanon-based Hezbollah militants began a ceasefire Wednesday in a major step toward ending nearly 14 months of fighting as a region on edge wondered whether it will hold.
The ceasefire kicked in 3 o'clock our time, if I'm not mistaken. And, yeah, I'm wondering if it'll hold as well.
Ooh. Hope so.
Yep.
My goodness. Hey, this weekend, festivities for the Bayou Classic get underway tomorrow at 3 with a parade through downtown New Orleans. Of course, the game itself kicks off at 1 p.m.
Yep.
Saturday.
And there's all kinds of festivities mixed in the interim as well. So looking forward to it. I'm standing by it. I'm not backing off my prediction. Southern's going to roll, man. It's not – I don't think it's going to be close.
But at the end of the day, Brian, we're all
winners. That's
we're all winners.
That's what Congressman Carter said.
That's just –
Yes, I realize we're all winners.
Right.
But there's a scoreboard up there as well. 4 quarters, 15 minutes per quarter. So we're going to keep an eye on that.
Maybe we should offer participation trophies on a professional level just to let everyone know we're all winners. Right, Franz?
We're all winners.
It's kind of what we're doing with our law students these days.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
I'm ready. I'm ready for legally. I'm sorry.
You don't know where I'm going with this, so okay.
Well, and for the record, just so full disclosure, and I know we're going to talk about this, I actually am an adjunct law professor at the LSU Law School. This wasn't me.
No,
just so the record's clear. Sounds like something I would do. I say a lot of stupid stuff. This wasn't me. So I have strong opinions on this one.
Understood.
Yeah. In other news, Billboard has named Taylor Swift as the second biggest pop star of the 21st century, right behind Beyonce. Which
wait, why y'all both nod like, it's about right? That's not right.
No, I was nodding.
Oh, okay, good.
Kind of, I don't know. Maybe I would put Britney Spears up there.
So here's the thing.
Beyonce, I don't know.
Taylor Swift writes her own music, right?
Yes.
Does Beyonce write her own music?
I don't know.
See, I think pound for pound, better musician, probably Taylor Swift. But better performer?
More number one hits.
Okay.
The Eras Tour has been going on for Eras itself. I mean, the Eras Tour is in its 3rd year now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Tickets to get into that stupid concert were in the thousands. Not even for the good seats, just to get into that stupid concert in the Superdome. Not like tickets were really limited. I just, pound for pound, over, like, let's say, and I know we're talking about the 21st century, but like over the last 5 years, you got to give that nod to Taylor. And
I guess I'm surprised she's behind Beyonce.
I'm
just
surprised
thought someone else would have been
behind Beyonce as well.
If she was going to be second, I guess I was just thinking
who else
pop
would be
star status.
Who else pop star wise? Like, you don't have the big bands.
You don't have like the queen of pop that Britney Spears was at one point, right? But you're right.
But
pound for pound, Taylor Swift has all those number ones on her own accord. She wrote those songs.
Right. But
you know what I mean? There was no ghostwriters.
Right.
Like,
that's part of where I'm coming from. The other part is the longevity as well, because Taylor has been around for the entirety of it.
Yeah.
And like Beyonce pops up in flashes. And I mean, they're like,
well,
brilliantly hot
they are
flashes.
Different ages too. Like Beyonce's how old?
Yeah.
How old is Taylor? I mean, I think
they
they have
really
a
that
decade
far
apart.
apart?
I think they got about a decade.
At least a decade.
So I mean, are we
Taylor's,
comparing?
in her 30s?
Are we comparing Beyonce at her height?
Post Destiny's Child, or
She wrote Lemonade.
They are 9 years apart. Taylor's 34. Beyonce is 43.
I would think Adele would be in there.
So mid 40-year-old Beyonce
Adele's
performs.
Barely a flash in the pan on this ranking here.
Really? Wow.
I do love me some Adele.
Adele, man. Yeah.
But not even in the conversation, guys.
We're always going to put Adele in the conversation.
I don't know.
right?
Who would be your number
Conversation.
3? Who would be your number 3?
Women over the last,
Garth?
call it 25 years?
Garth?
No, female. Or
Female.
did they say
female?
female, or did they just say pop overall?
Pop.
Okay, Justin Timberlake.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'll give you
we
that.
got to leave room for Bruno Mars in that mix, too.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? We need a break. It's 6:14, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. I tell you what, break, come back, talk a little LSU women's basketball, talk a little LSU football next.
So you're talking Beastie Boys.
Hey,
like what era of Beastie Boys?
Yes.
Like yeah.
License to Ill.
License to Ill. There was
I didn't know
Shake
if
Your Head,
I would have
Paul
known it was that kind of party, I would have put my in the mashed potatoes Beastie Boys.
That is from, that's not Intergalactic.
No. Intergalactic. I got to tell you, the fact that they produced Intergalactic and the hits on that album. I was listening to Sabotage this morning.
Yeah.
However, I was also listening to Fight for Your Right to Party.
Yeah. But the fact they play their own instruments, too. Man, like Check Your Head, Paul's Boutique.
Do we call the Beastie Boys rappers?
Yes.
Okay. But that was back when rap was like you could discern what they were saying and like.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Incredible Edible Egg?
Senior day.
Oh, that's the only one?
That hypocrite smokes 3 packs a day.
2 packs.
2 pack? Is it 2 packs?
He also smokes 2 packs a day.
I missed it. But the spirit of the lyric.
Yes.
Probably my least favorite Beastie Boys song.
Fight for Your Right to Party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just least. I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. It's just.
Ill Communication. That was the name of that album.
That's what it was.
Okay, so we're gonna need to do something at 6:50 because I don't have other news here. I'll figure it out.
Two of the dads are left from the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, MCA passed away in like 2007, I think. So Mike D and Adrock are the last two remaining members. They did an awesome documentary a couple years ago.
So their biggest hits, number 1, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. 2, Sabotage. 3, Fight for Your Right to Party. 4, Intergalactic. 5, So What You Want. 6, surprisingly, this is higher up in the list than I would have thought. Brass Monkey.
That's lower than I would have thought.
Hey Ladies, number 7. Paul Revere, number 8.
.617 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. No time to waste here. We ran long in that last segment, so let's dive right back in. Senior Day coming up Saturday for LSU. Yes, taking on Oklahoma. Before that is the last home game of the season, which means they will honor the seniors. Here's Brian Kelly at Monday's press conference talking about them.
We've got 21 that we're going to honor prior to the game. You know, Zy Alexander has been a great addition, right, coming in from Southeast Louisiana. Garrett Dallinger has been a stalwart for us. You know, we all know about Kyron Lacey and what he's done. Greg Penn, we talked about. Miles Frazier, 3-year starter. Braden Swinson, what a year he's had, right, in terms of coming off the edge. Parrish Shand, I mean, Swiss Army knife for us. He's done a little bit of everything, kind of unsung. He's played end, he's played tackle. He's our personal protector on punt, running down the field. Invaluable to us. Gio Paez has come in and given us snap after snap, hasn't missed a snap. He has just been a workhorse. You talk about eating innings up. He's a guy that eats innings up for you. He's just been a workhorse for us. Savion Jones has just had a monster year. His pass rush has been great. You know, so just and there's others here, but just those guys have meant so much and have just dedicated so much of their time to the program. I mean, I know, you know, we had that 3-game losing streak, but you know, I reminded these guys they've still won 11 of their last 15 games, and they've had an incredible night schedule where they've won 15 out of 16 games. They've done some great things, and really proud of what they've done, and it'll be a great tribute to them.
Kickoff, of course, 6 o'clock over in our sister station, Eagle 98.1, which means Eagle 98.1's game day will begin at 1 p.m., handing off to the LSU Sports Radio Network at 4. We have got the Fox Business Report coming up here in exactly 15 seconds. Let me tell you, Coach Kim Mulkey and the 7th-ranked LSU Tigers are going to wrap up their trip to the Bahamas, taking on NC State at 12:30 today. You'll hear that right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Patrick Wright will be on the call. Yours truly on the board. Here's the Fox Business Report.
Where would Justin Timberlake be had he not had the nipple slip? The nipple slip incident.
But that was Janet Jackson's thing more than his, though.
Right.
He just happened to be the one who
He survived.
ripped the.
He did survive the Britney Spears memoir, where the forced abortion allegation.
Heard about that crap.
You know.
Conversely, where would Justin Timberlake be if not for Timbaland?
Ooh.
The
A lot
fut-
of people.
yeah.
Lot of people
That's
in
a
that
good
boat.
point.
Yeah. But the whole Future Sex album does it. That mean that
Catapulted his solo
Yes.
career.
yes,
Like post in sync, catapulted.
right.
on
He
the
was
music
just
site.
he was just regular like post
Yeah.
boy band dude.
Yeah.
And then
The-
Future Sex comes out,
Timbaland,
sexy
like-
back, and there is no song on that album that isn't just killer.
Hey Siri, what is Timberland's net worth?
They're gonna tell you what the boots.
$85 million.
Oh,
I mean, he ain't doing bad.
Oh no.
I was worried.
He did the same thing for Nelly Furtado. Same thing.
oh, say it right. What
Yeah.
a song.
Promiscuous boy.
That song.
Yeah.
That song is
Like,
liquid
He
sex
did
right
the
there.
Same thing. He did the
Whatever
same thing.
happened to her? She's still kind of, whatever.
She did like a Tiny Desk concert recently with NPR.
I'd pay for that. I meant go to the concert. That's what I meant.
Shit, she's 45.
I'd allow it.
Oh, who's the other band? One Republic. Same thing. What he did with Apologize. If you heard that song
Yeah,
like Timbaland, it's not.
not the
There's
same.
nothing that
nowhere
pops
close.
about
What I like about the music industry is take like Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk.
Right.
Great song, right?
Morning, Rich.
Right. It's not his song.
It's Mark Ronson.
Right.
Mark, there are people who don't know who Mark Ronson is, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Mark Ronson did another song with Mystical that was better than Uptown
Mystical.
Funk, in my opinion. But that's just 'cause I'm a big Mystical fan.
Yeah.
But it's called "Feel Right."
Huh.
But like every other line ends with like "in this mother," but he
Mhm.
doesn't actually say
Which
it.
is why I play the instrument.
Feel right in his mother. It's
Oh, feel right. Yeah, I see that. 9
So-
years ago, I don't even think I've heard it. Huh. Nice. Yeah, man. That's all it takes a producer just to bring that out of like.
I don't have really strong
like a
feelings
Rick
about
Right.
Rubin. Same thing what he did with the Beastie Boys. It was like these producers, man.
That's the real money, though, right?
Yeah.
easy peasy traffic report this morning, the day before Thanksgiving, as you would expect. Volume is going to be pretty light. In fact, I'm not showing any real delays on 10 east or westbound anywhere in Baton Rouge. 12 east or west looking good right now. 110's looking great. Both bridges are wide open, and there are no accidents to report to start off your Thanksgiving morning or Thanksgiving Eve morning. That being said, though, it will be a very, very heavy traffic day. So a lot of folks will be hitting the road. Budget yourself a little extra time. If you're running errands throughout town, maybe remember that there's a lot of people traveling on the interstates, so surface streets will be your best route throughout the day, just to kind of avoid any kind of buildup there. That's your look at traffic from the Shaw Bills Tire Traffic Center. 624 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Yep, that's right. Coming up noon today, we've got LSU women's basketball right here on Talk 107.3 FM. They're in the Bahamas. They will be taking on NC State. Tip-off is at 12:30. Patrick Wright will be on the call. Your home for LSU women's basketball all season long is right here on Talk 107.3 FM. All right, let's dive in. It's time for Legally Served. Did you dub the audio that I asked for? Yes. Okay. Welcome aboard, Franz. How are you,
Good morning, fellas. Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Dude, I'm so excited about today's conversations.
Are you, both of them?
Both of them.
Okay. All
I
right.
have strong feelings about one. The other one, I'm,
Really? I really thought you were going to have strong feelings about both. I'm
Which one do you want to do first? You want to do Brave Cave?
I can't
The home
imagine
version?
a world where we're you know what? Let's go ahead and do that one because I think the other one's going to take more time to cover.
Sure.
Okay. The story goes in 2019, this mom asked two BRPD officers to hold down her son, and she whooped the you-know-what out of him with a belt. Didn't stop till her arm got tired. Now the video's out there. What are we looking at here?
Well, first question is, what did he do to deserve the whipping?
Okay, that's a legitimate question, though, is it not?
I mean,
are you saying that tongue-in-cheek, or are you?
yes.
Okay.
But there has to be more to this, right? Like for the cops to comply, and say, yes, ma'am, we're going to hold your son down so that you can tear that, whatever. I mean, and I'm not saying I'm a victim blamer, to quote Dave Chappelle.
Right.
I'm just saying, well, what did he do?
BRPD put out a statement. I got the statement this morning. It reads, as it relates to a video currently circulating online from more than 5 years ago involving two Baton Rouge police officers assisting a mother disciplining her 14-year-old son. In September 2019, officers responded to reports of gunshots in the area to find a home that had been struck with gunfire in an apparent drive-by. Multiple people were inside the residence and were contacted by Baton Rouge police officers, including a 14-year-old male and his mother. Officers spoke to the mother, who was upset and questioning her son about the shooting. The juvenile was extremely disrespectful to his mother and officers and refused to give his mother any information on the identity of the suspects involved in the shooting incident. The mother requested officers assist her to discipline her son. Officers did comply with her request. They held the 14-year-old male down on a bed while the mother hit him on his rear with a belt. The shooting investigation did result in the arrests of 5 suspects in the weeks following due to cell phone video that was obtained of the incident, recovery of the firearm, and suspect admissions. Upon the incident being brought to our attention, BRPD Internal Affairs began an investigation into the matter. The only complaint in the incident has come from attorney Ryan Thompson, who is representing one of the original shooting suspects in the criminal matter. And then it goes on to ask for...
So just to be clear,
yeah,
he was extremely disrespectful. 14-year-old, extreme. These officers are heroes. They probably saved his life.
And the mother's.
They probably saved his life and the mother.
Flippant?
No.
Okay.
I live in a household where if my son is disrespectful to me or his mother, I tear that ass. Pardon my language. I can do that.
Right.
Not everybody can do that.
Right.
And I'm sorry. I don't want to live in a world where a 14-year-old is extremely disrespectful to his mother. Those two officers took care of business. Next. Keep it moving. Nothing to see here.
All right. No, well, you and I, we're on the same side on this one then.
Yeah,
because
I don't.
As soon as the shooting happened, the mom was like, who did this. You have to tell these officers who did this.
This is an awkward. Right. This is an awkward civil rights hill to die on. It's because, to some degree, it was consensual, right? Not by the 14-year-old, but by mom.
Right.
Right.
Well, interestingly enough, the way I read the story, and I might be wrong about this, but it sounds like the attorney is representing one of the shooters, Not even the boy who got beat.
That's interesting.
I-
Ryan Thompson,
I
I'm
could be
working a
wrong,
case
Ryan.
with Ryan right now. Ryan Thompson's a very good advocate. Normally he's involved in civil rights cases. He does do defense work. Listen. What is the 14-year-old suing BRPD? They suing his mom?
No, the only complaint's coming from Thompson. So,
Yeah.
All right, we're on the same side there.
It's not great
Let's-
optics, guys.
You know,
It's not great optics.
in light of recent
And
transgressions.
they didn't do it in a cave.
Here's news.
You're welcome. There have been times in my office
Hey, good morning, Christy.
where I'm representing or about to represent a young man or woman who their parents are there and they are talking to their mother or father in a way that is entirely unacceptable. And if I could leap up across the table and take my belt off,
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Do you get the urge to just, like, enforce that discipline? 'Cause, yeah,
I have told kids that they're not going to talk like that in front of me to their mothers.
Right.
I have told that. But let's be candid. Mama and daddy are the ones paying. So, I mean, is that for the kid or is that for mom and dad? Maybe don't film it. Maybe don't taunt while doing it.
It was body cam, though.
Oh. We need to do an episode on body cams and where we started and where we are now X amount of years later.
Yeah.
Oh, he's lucky it wasn't like his grandmother or his aunt. Because let me tell you
If the
something.
mom's not big enough
Grandma-
to hold him down or, like, discipline him.
Grandmas tear ass up, dude. Dude, that's
Use anything.
across
A
cultural
belt.
boundaries. That's
Make
a.
it spoon,
Let me tell you something.
like a cooking spoon.
I've represented some kids that are hard, like hardcore, evil little creatures. The way they will turn the switch when their grandmother or aunt or strong female role model is in the picture, it's like a reversion from talking shit to like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it's like you watch it and you're like, ooh. Or maybe I'm just into strong females. I don't know. Can I really intimidate a law student?
Yes, you can.
Aren't they supposed to be advocates or learning to be advocates? Aren't they supposed to push back a little bit? Dandelions and daffodils. That's what we're making. But he may be right. Maybe that's not the right place. What is the law professor teaching? That's my question.
Climate change.
That's not a political topic.
Climate law.
That's not a political topic. Come on. Really? Come on. You know what I said about President Trump in my class?
Hopefully nothing.
You know what I said?
What?
He's good for business. Which is true. I teach criminal procedure. There really isn't a need to talk about the president or politics other than as it relates to legal decisions.
We're going all the way to 50, John.
Okay.
I'm really craving a turducken. Have you been to Belou's near the plants? Plate lunch kind of thing?
No.
Oh, treat yourself. Belou's. It's, I don't know if it's healthy. It's probably not healthy. It's probably not going to get us into that next level of, or that size down of pants. Just saying.
I'm down a belt loop.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, one loop. Speaking of plate lunches, we had Chicken Shack in for Foodie Friday a couple weeks ago.
It's so good, but it knocks you down,
I
man.
know. I told him, I said, bro, you could make a vegetable give me diabetes.
Let me tell you something. I had Blue Store one Friday night. Was home alone.
another one.
Home alone. Dim the lights. Got Blue Store delivered. It was 20 minutes to deliver it.
Just
as,
you hate yourself.
just as hot as if I would have picked it up. And I got full size and wings. And it was just like I'm in the corner like the crying game, like eating the chicken. And it was the best experience and worst experience all in the same thing.
Yeah.
Blue Store's not even close to Chicken Shack, though.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
But it's good.
It's
Blue Store's
good, yeah.
good. It's like Beyonce, Taylor Swift. You know?
In that comparison, Chicken Shack is Whitney.
I do like Whitney.
Okay, yeah.
I want to run to you. Ooh. Think about what would have happened if Whitney would have gotten off the crack. We would have had some awesome music. No, not so much.
I don't know.
You think the crack attributed to?
I mean, that's what I think. I mean, I
It's
know
not like marijuana. It doesn't make better music.
if you don't have the crack, Bobby Brown never has humping around. So
I would have liked to have seen a true. I would have liked to seen a.
ain't nobody humping around.
I would have liked to seen a Charlie Murphy true Hollywood Whitney Spears. I don't know how Chappelle would have done it. Byron deploys parental guilt tripping. If you just tell your kids you're disappointed, they cry.
Yeah.
You've let dad down. I mean, there's trauma there.
Can I zoom this in?
Are you
a hell of a lot more?
traumatized if two BRPD officers hold you down while your mama spanks you? And then
I
the
mean-
video, it seems like the video being released later and make
Okay.
it go in public makes it worse.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
hard to be hard after that. Like you can't be gangster. Like,
Dang, dude!
Mama, like, oh, he gonna cry now. He gonna cry in the car.
Pops
Mom-
wants me to get my beach cruiser
My
back.
mama gave me that chain.
They don't make movies
Oh,
like that
man.
anymore. They just don't.
If you're not watching on Facebook Live, you're missing out right now. Okay, we gotta check weather. A lot of fog to start off the morning. We got cold weather on the way. Here's your full forecast from Emma Cade Cowan. Oh, he gonna cry in the car.
My favorite line in the movie, though, is when he comes around, I'll be quiet. When he goes, I'll be
When you come
talking.
around,
start
I'm
talking
talking
again.
But see, his mama like little. She's like 4 foot nothing. Like
You can watch
and
the video. Everybody can watch the video. Dude, if I was
didn't
that
even see
dude,
it.
I would have never wanted that video to come to light.
Six 638 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We got attorney Franz Borghardt in with us for one more segment before he's got to get out of here and go get in some court TV. We don't talk about court TV today. You know yet?
Sarah Boone, sentencing.
Who's
Sarah
okay.
Boone's the woman who convinced her boyfriend while playing hide and seek to get into a suitcase.
Oh no!
And zipped him up?
Yeah, yep.
And then he suffocated in the suitcase. I just haven't met the woman yet. I haven't met the woman yet that would be able to convince me to get in the suitcase. Martha Stewart, I would get in a suitcase for Martha Stewart, but I haven't met that woman.
Let's be very clear. Neither one of us are getting into a suitcase.
For Martha Stewart, I would.
All right, no. This would have to
I'd
be
find a way.
okay. How about you're not gonna fit in the suitcase? I don't bend like that, Franz.
Just because it zips doesn't mean it fits.
Right. All right, we've got another story on our hands here that the governor has called for LSU's Board of Supervisors to punish a law professor who was perceived as being critical of his students who voted for Donald Trump in the most recent election. I'm having trouble reading this on the on my computer screen here, so I need to go to it from.
And just while you're looking it up, just
Yeah.
so we're clear, as the sometimes LSU law professor, I say a lot of dumb stuff in class. This wasn't me. Just for the record's clear, this time it wasn't me.
Understood. The professor said, and they pull an excerpt of what he had to say, and the governor printed the excerpt word for word in his letter. It says, "I don't know who y'all voted for. Some of you in the room voted for Harris. Some voted for Trump. Some of you maybe didn't vote at all or voted for somebody else. But if your vote, I don't mean any of you individually in particular, and they got all the ums and everything in here, so I'm reading it as is. If you voted for Trump and your rationale for voting for Trump, that you don't like him personally, that you like his policies, I'll just say that it's on you to prove that by the way you conduct yourself and by the way that you treat other people around you. Because I will say that I hear a lot about how groups of people in the law school, particularly black students, don't feel comfortable in the law school, don't feel welcome here. And so I want you all to think a little bit about why that is. And I don't know if anybody falls into that category, but if you voted for Trump on the idea that you don't like him personally, but that you like his policies, I want you to think about the message that sends to other people and how you can prove that by treating others in a way that matches that sentiment. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Again, my job is not to teach you politics. My job is to teach you about the law. The law is going to change, and administrative law is going to change. I perceive this vote as really like a rejection of the idea that we are governed by a people with expertise. There is a lot in administrative law about ensuring that the government makes rational decisions, right? That's the arbitrary and capricious test. Is the government acting and making rational decisions? It goes on from
so
there.
he tells them, so we're clear. He tells them, it's not my job to teach you about politics. It's my job to teach you about the law. He says that. And the only reason we're talking about this is because one of the students was offended, right? Or multiple students were offended.
I would assume it's more than one student.
Yeah,
I mean,
and reported it.
Yep.
And then it got back to the governor. And they probably whined to the governor.
It's
right.
When you are the professor in a class, you hold a position of power over that student. You had said during the break, aren't these kids learning to become advocates? Shouldn't they be able to speak up on their own behalf? Not necessarily when the person who's in charge of the class holds your future in their hands.
Well, yes and no. All the grading is anonymous. It's one exam per class per semester, and it's all anonymous. I have no clue who whether it's Brian's test, his test, Susie's test. I don't understand or know whose grades are what. So if you had a MAGA hat on, I'm not going to grade your exam any differently because I don't know who's wearing the MAGA hat. Number two, we need to say this out loud. Academia across the board is creating a lot of students that are soft. And law school, here it is. And law school, they need to have thick skin. Sometimes I will say, hold on.
So far apart on this.
Go
ahead.
Hold on. Sometimes I'll say divisive things in my class to elicit an argument back. Things that I don't even believe. Just to get them to play. The whole teaching method is what's called the Socratic method, where I ask questions, and then I ask questions in response to the answers. And my questions challenge them and get them to think and to advocate. That being said, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Governor Landry is offended by someone having an inappropriate and misplaced view in a forum that isn't appropriate. I'm shocked. Okay, I'm done.
I'm shocked that you're taking the side opposite Jeff Landry and in favor of the professor because you're a lawyer. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to side with the other lawyer here.
Jeff Landry involving himself in the operations of LSU makes about as much sense to me as him involving himself with the pet tiger on the field. I'm sorry.
Well, this one actually makes a lot more sense than that one. The pet tiger was a complete whatever. But he, if called upon to enforce the law, which this professor presumably broke.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that is where the rubber hits the road.
Mm-hmm.
It is illegal for a professor in that setting to intimidate a student.
Yes.
Did you find that narrative? Honestly, all politics to the side for a second. Did you find it intimidating?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because you're explained in no uncertain terms that there's a certain person that we support and a certain person that we don't. And if you supported that other person, you're going to have to prove yourself that you're even worthy of being here. You're going to have to prove to the rest of us that no, and he didn't threaten. Let's be very clear.
Okay, that's
John,
what I was getting at.
John, and here, he didn't threaten.
Okay,
there's a difference between intimidation and threatening, right? It reminds me of the scene in Breaking Bad when Hank figures out who Walter is, that he's actually Heisenberg, and you have this exchange.
I don't know who you are.
That's all.
I don't even know who I'm talking to. If that's true, if you don't know who I am, then maybe your best course would be to tread lightly.
No threat given right there.
That's
But
a
Hank,
threat. That's a threat.
No. What did he threaten to do? He didn't threaten anything.
So here it is.
But that's what intimidation is. You're able to strong arm somebody without making a specific threat.
So here it is. If I seem animated on this one, it's not because of Jeff Landry. I'm animated on this one because of the nature of academia. And as someone who has taught now 3 semesters at the LSU Law School, I want my future law students to be vertebrates. I want them to have backbones. I want them to be able to stand up for themselves and their views. And I want them to not be daffodils and dandelions, because the real world of practicing law in courtrooms is not fair. It's not always just. And you have to be able to deal with it with thicker skin than this. That being said, I do think the Board of Supervisors need to have a discourse on this and have a dialogue on this and look into this. Because I don't know that there should be any, like, do I think that this law school professor should be fired?
Oh, God, no.
Right. And by the way, just so we're all on the same page, the general mindset of LSU Law, which is the flagship university of law schools in the state of Louisiana, I'm biased, but it is we have a line of state attorneys that would love to teach what you're teaching.
Yeah.
We're not going to pay you a bunch, and we know that you're a full-time practicing lawyer. We're bringing you in to teach us. This guy was teaching what? Climate change?
Something about administrative law and climate change. I don't know
Right.
where that Venn diagram crossed.
Administrative law is interesting because administrative law does lend itself to politics. I teach criminal.
So does climate change.
Well, here it is. I teach criminal procedure. The only time I ever talk about politics is I talk about the distinction between a federal judge and an elected judge. And how those individuals may make different decisions and how they make decisions. I talk about the fact that, look, I'm a criminal defense attorney. President Trump, for me, I'm going to say it on the record. Not everybody's going to like me saying this. He's good for business. He's good for my bottom line business. As a private criminal defense attorney, he's going to make tougher laws, and those tougher laws are going to make stiffer penalties, and the stiffer penalties are going to allow Franzi to do what? Charge more.
Yeah.
Is that political? Is that reality? I don't know. I just feel like academia is a very weird place these days.
Well, because you talk about how you want lawyers out in the world who make the strongest and best arguments. Vertebrates. The strongest and best arguments for those who they are representing. And yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. But there is, within academia, there's a level of conformism that you have to adapt to in order to make it out into the real world. You don't get that degree without the signing off of the professors. And yeah, if it's anonymous in law school, that's fine. But they've already been taught in other classes that you got to go along to get along.
So what society do you want? Do you want the society where Susie or Timmy stands up and fights back, argues? Or do you want it where they go and report him?
All right, let me ask you the same question. What society do you want? Do you want the society where the person in a position of authority shames the students because of who they voted for?
Well, first of all, I like the society where 2 BRPD officers hold down the 14-year-old and spank him. We've already established what kind of society I like. Guys, I'm just telling you that I don't know that this complaint by Governor Landry is going to change anything. Both. I just look. I do agree that if you're teaching tort law, it shouldn't be about politics. If you're teaching climate law, it shouldn't be about politics. But let's be intellectually honest with each other. Politics absolutely influences law. On every level, it influences law.
Yes.
How laws are made, how they're enforced,
now,
how they're enacted.
You're making my argument for me then, because if politics influences the law, then those who hold the positions of authority in teaching the law influence the politics.
Sure.
They hold a greater position of power at that point.
Oh, there's definitely a power dynamic in each and every. And look, I will concede, law school is a very emotionally trying and volatile environment for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's very stressful. It's akin to med school in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't think this changes anything.
I work in radio and I studied econ, so I don't even
look where you come down.
Right. He's Franz Borghardt.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Legally served at this time every week. Appreciate you, Franz. Have a great Thanksgiving. Here's your money now.
It's always good, man. It's always good.
Yep. All right. I need some cuts here for something. I don't even know what we're doing here. Do I not have today's news call? Shit.
What do you have, a printout of it?
Yep. How long do I have?
Got about 2 minutes.
Coming up on 656 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to, man, I hate closing the book on that segment, though. Franz and I could have kept going on that one. That was a good one. If you missed Legally Served, it'll be available on demand at talk1073.com after the show is over with today. Before we get into our next story, I got to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. I called my guy Vinny yesterday over at Vex European. So I had a flat tire, and I didn't want to drive on the flat tire, so I wanted to take the tire off at my house rather than take it over to Shawbills or Discount or somewhere or Hunt's or somewhere to get it changed. So jacked up the car, went to go take the tire off. Tire wouldn't come off. I'm like, is there something about a Mercedes I don't know? So I called, and Vinny's like, no, nothing special. Just kick the you-know-what out of it. I'm like, okay. There's that expert level advice I'm looking for. By the way, I did, and it worked. So anyway, back to it. If you drive a European vehicle, if you're getting out on the road for the holiday season or for the travel for the holiday, if you can get in today, you need to get in today. Visit vexeuropean.com, hit the drop-down menu to see if they handle your make, model of vehicle. Vinny and his team, they do phenomenal work. Look, my car is 16 years old. It needs that tender love and care. It needs that level of expert level of attention and service. That's why I use Vex European. I will tell you this, though. We tell you same day or next day service. Obviously, with the holiday, that's not going to be the case today, as they'll be closed tomorrow for Thanksgiving and on Friday for Black Friday, and then they will reopen on Monday to pick things back up. So if you're hitting up vexeuropean.com, wanting to schedule out your appointment, likely going to be Monday before you're getting in there over at Vex, V-E-X, Vex European. The legislative session that wrapped up, last Friday? Got a lot done in a short period of time, but you didn't realize how much got done until you started unpacking it after the fact. We're going to have State Representative Mark Wright on in our 8 o'clock hour. He's got a whole unpacking of the thing that he wrote HB 10. We're going to talk about that specifically, but really about how much can move over the bills that crossed the finish line. We talked with Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois about it yesterday, and she had an interesting take that I just absolutely loved. Basically, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and really the energy that went into it, the willingness to work and change, is going to be greater than the change itself. The one that I just edited.
We've got...
Nope. Hey, wait, it's going to cut short now. We're going to run out of time. Don't worry about it. Basically, what she was saying was there's... When you show businesses out there the want to work, the want to get things done, and then you get a few of them done, you're on your way towards better days are coming, right? And when you show that you could change a few laws, you get more buy-in from those who want to buy in because Louisiana has so much working for it, which, by the way, is a similar topic that we're going to cover with Tim Temple in our next hour. I got Tim slated for 7:15 this morning. So let's break for news, traffic, weather. We'll hit top stories and trending. Hour 2 is on the way next right here on Talk 107.3. Where did it go?
It's labeled Mathern's Magic Moment.
Yeah. I edited that, and I said, this right here is what I want.
Oh.
There was no reason to even get off it. All you had to do was hit play.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. That threw me off. The title of it. I was like, oh, Susan Bourgeois. I was looking for that.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Yeah, hey.
Happy Thanksgiving, dude.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Hey, big.
Well, I mean, they should be offered that service to every mother out there. Every mother out there. By the way, how you think that kid, because he's 19 now, he was 14 at the time. How you think that kid feels that video's out there? They're like, you can't be a gangster anymore now. You that career's over with. right? But like, how you can try and be gangster when there's video of your mother whipping your ass with a belt while you're being held down by police? Like, you're done in that field. You need to go get a job now because you're not
Told Sue
doing.
last night, I want to do some role playing. I'll be a kid. You be a
We don't have Graves. I know. Yeah, sometimes I'll argue just to argue, and people just like, oh, how could you say such a thing? Well, because it was entertaining. That's how. I am. I'm ready to be done with work for a little while. And the thing is, I'm going to work the whole way through because I work at LSU as well. So I got women's basketball today, men's basketball Friday, and football on Saturday. So I'll be nice and rested come Monday, right? .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Programming note, and this was totally on me. Normally we have Congressman Graves on every Wednesday at 7:35 for DC Current, presented by LABI. And his office had let me know weeks ago that he was not going to be available today. So nixing that segment. We've got other stuff to cover. We will get to a little more on the special session in that segment. This hour, Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple in the house. He'll be here for our next segment. Right now, though, we start off the second hour with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Security camera video shows a man in a ski mask walking up the steps of a home in New Orleans, and while wearing that ski mask, he walks towards the camera, rummages around on the porch, and then walks away. Later, the homeowner called police, and that call landed convicted Baton Rouge arsonist Christian King back in jail. Monday night, King was arrested for violating a protective order for a woman he was not supposed to be near down in New Orleans. He was then brought back to East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. According to District Attorney Hiller Moore, King is awaiting transfer to Orleans Parish.
Number 4.
Way too many papers in this stack, y'all. A pair of Baton Rouge police officers are on the job as an internal investigation of their behavior from a 2019 incident continues. The officers are seen on their body cameras offering to hold down a 14-year-old boy so his mother could whip his behind. The officers were identified as Adam Rhodes and Jermaine Javius. We discussed this in our Legally Served segment with attorney Franz Borghardt back in the first hour. Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse put out a statement saying the mother requested the officers assist her to discipline her son. They complied with her request and held the 14-year-old male down held him down on a bed while the mother hit him on his rear with a belt. This was in connection to what this boy saw or knew involved in a drive-by shooting on his own home. 5 arrests were made in that case.
Number 3.
The Baton Rouge Area Chamber is considering exchanging its traditional Chamber of Commerce model to become an economic development organization. What that looks like remains unclear. BRAC's president and CEO, Lori Melanson, is a longtime economic development professional. She was named as the head of BRAC back in May after Adam Knapp moved over to C100. Melanson noted the move symbolizes BRAC's search for individuals and organizations interested in investing to support the organization's mission of advancing economic development compared to the more transactional relationship that chambers of commerce usually have.
Number 2.
Governor Jeff Landry yesterday called for LSU and the university's Board of Supervisors to punish a law professor who was perceived as being critical of his students who voted for President-elect Donald Trump. In a lecture the day after the general election, Professor Nicholas Brenner, or Briner, B-R-Y-N-E-R, told students who voted for Trump on the merits of his policy, despite their personal feelings about the man's conduct, that they, quote, must prove that they voted for policy by the way that they conduct themselves and by the way that they treat other people around them. The statement went on from there. In fact, the full statement, the governor tweeted out his letter. It includes an excerpt of that statement. It is a little bit lengthier than just that one quote. But the governor says that by doing so, this professor was in violation of a recently passed statute that talks about people in positions of authority not intimidating those that are in a position of authority over.
Number 1.
2 people were arrested after deputies seized a large amount of drugs from homes in both East Baton Rouge and Jefferson parishes. Deshaun Jones, 42 years old, and Lakeisha Butler, 41, were both arrested on drug dealing and gun charges, as well as illegal possession of drugs in the presence of a minor. This first arrest was made Monday when deputies in Jefferson Parish raided a Marrero home. They found cocaine, they found fentanyl, they found amphetamine, they found other drugs. They arrested Jones and found photographs of drugs on his phone linked to a house that was here in Baton Rouge. Searched that house, found more guns, found more drugs. That's where Butler was arrested. What's trending, John?
Israel and Lebanon-based Hezbollah militants began a ceasefire Wednesday in a major step toward ending their nearly 14 months of fighting as the region on edge wondered whether it will hold.
It's a Thanksgiving miracle. No, I wonder, too, how long will this hold up?
Right.
It's not like they're just done with their grievances, right?
Right.
They'll pick things back up soon enough. But I would guess every day that goes by without the shooting is probably a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Festivities for the Bayou Classic get underway tomorrow at 3 with a parade through downtown New Orleans. Of course, the game itself kicks off at 1 p.m.
Never been
Tomorrow.
to the parade before. I've never even, like, because it's Thanksgiving Day. It's like the middle of the afternoon, right?
I would think you'd have something else, you know.
One would hope.
Maybe with the
I don't know. By 3, you might be done with dinner. If you're in the area, come on out, I guess. I guess that's the way that rolls. I'm standing by it, though. Jaguars rolling this one. They're way too hot right now. They've been running roughshod over the SWAC. I don't see that stopping on Saturday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But no matter what, man, we're all winners at the end of the day.
Don't.
Hey, look at this. Billboard has named Taylor Swift as the second biggest pop star of the 21st century, right behind Beyonce. And we got into this last
We
hour.
did.
You want
We
to
did.
see
When
3
Franz
grown
was
men talk about
3 grown men
biggest
talking
pop
about pop stars. I know.
Love it.
So let me just declare personally, I'm probably a bigger Beyonce fan than I am a Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, I have to respect objective numbers here. Taylor's got more number ones. Her concert, like the Eras concert tour, is in its own era now. It's like
Yes.
That you're talking about one concert tour that's spanning close to 3 years. You're talking about 4 figures to get into the front door, regardless of where the seat is. Like if you wanted to watch the Eras tour from the concourse of the Superdome, it was going to cost you $1,000, right? Like I'll hang out here in the bathroom. That'll be $1,000. Like it didn't matter where the seat was. The prices were through the roof. Record sales, number ones, all of it combined. You got to give that nod to Taylor, right?
And you mentioned those number ones written by her.
Yeah.
No ghostwriters.
Oh,
These
no,
are.
well,
I'm sure she
yeah.
had collaborators.
Sure.
But for the most part, I mean, these songs were written by her.
Yeah. But, I mean, she churns out like 50 new hits every time she breaks up.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. New albums, too. I mean, my gosh.
Well,
just in
yeah.
the last 5 years, where they're like,
But let's be
like
fair.
2 albums back
Let's
to
be
back.
fair. When she put out whatever that was, the
Is it
Tortured
Folklore?
Poets.
Oh, Tortured Poets? Okay.
I mean, that was like, if you're being honest, there was a lot of garbage in there. It was a lot of garbage mixed in. Like she could fart in a microphone and it would go platinum. Nothing?
This guy. My goodness.
The insurance commissioner still want to come on?
I don't know. I think he
All
just
right.
walked out.
Yeah.
No.
Take a quick break. Come back. We'll see what we could if we can recover next. Too far? Too much? Okay. She wants to. It's just a matter of finding the right, like working out the cadence to where she's on at the right time and whatnot. Yeah. In DC, the 6 o'clock hour is the 7 o'clock hour, but it worked to go earlier. Yeah. So. I'm not giving up on Cleo yet, though. It's because at the end of the day, the map's going to go back to the old map, but he's going to run again. He's going to run, like even when it reverts back to the old map, he's going to run, and now he's an incumbent. Yeah. I don't know. Other things we could prioritize for a special session before we get to insurance? Okay.
I'm still asking. I'm still saying that we need one. So
We do. Yep. So yes, and based off of this, and I started in on it, and I'm going to talk about it after the segment as well. In that, I've got to cut. Did you close that cut or did you keep it?
Which one?
The Susan Bourgeois one that's labeled.
I've
as
got
hers.
it.
Okay,
I've got it.
I'm going back to it at
Okay,
7:35. Okay.
I just need to remember it's labeled something.
Basically, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts when it comes to the special session. Because when looking to recruit, when looking for economic development, when you're out there courting companies, they see you working. They see you working, and that good faith is enough to get them in the door. And the way you've talked, right, and the way you've talked about, correct. So that's the parallel there. It's 7:14, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We've got Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple in the house. I need him to sit tight for exactly 60 seconds because I got to remind you about the folks at Matherns. Look, tomorrow's Thanksgiving Day. Can't get your Thanksgiving order in anymore. Well, give them a call or hop on Matherns.com. They might be able to help you out. But more importantly, the holiday season is upon us. So if you're in charge of the food for your company's Christmas party, you need to hit up Matherns.com. And whether you're talking about a chicken finger tray, some sandwich trays, or knocking out the whole spread, they've got you covered. Now, they'll base things out of the LSU location. That's in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center directly across the street from Tiger Stadium, but they can help you out wherever you're at. They've got their downtown location as well, right there in between, right there on 3rd Street. And I tell you every day about the Matherns Rewards app. I use it regularly. I'll be using it today. Whatever you're buying inside the store, you're earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop. I'll be swinging by for lunch today on my way to work LSU women's basketball. I already know I'm going to go in looking for a salad, and the wing bar is going to draw my attention, and I'm going to walk out with a dozen spicy lemon pepper wings. This is what I do. Anyway, they're fantastic, by the way. Underrated wings at Matherns. But whatever, they got you covered. If you're knocking out your groceries, if you need those last-minute Suddens onlys for Thanksgiving, they've got you covered in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. It's Matherns. All right. Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple's in the house. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brian. I'm telling you, I'm just really amazed that you've got your day planned out like that.
All right, well, yeah. I don't know what point I'm going to get home, though.
I don't know where my next cup of coffee's coming from, and you've already got lunch.
Got a fresh pot downstairs.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. I want to get into a couple of things in the world of insurance in just a little bit, but can we start with, and I know the special session was on tax reform, but I noticed a lot of parallels about what they were doing over there compared to what you're trying to do in the world of insurance as well.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right, Brian. You know, the property reform that we did in the regular session earlier this year, as your listeners know, that was designed to help change things in Louisiana, which makes us an unattractive marketplace from an insurance perspective.
Right.
The same thing was done during special session for tax reform. Mm-hmm. You know, the governor and his leadership and the House and Senate leadership, they said we need to change some of the laws, some of the taxes that make us an unattractive marketplace. It's very similar parallel there. So I'm excited for the property reform. It is a step, but we need to continue. We've got more to do. Mm-hmm. As your listeners know, I think we need to address insurance. You know, we've been trying to do, they call it tort reform, legal reform, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. But I hear when we do these committee hearings, you know, we've been trying to do this for decades and decades and decades, but they've only been doing it in regular sessions.
Right.
We need a special session for insurance reform to do exactly what they just did in tax, mm-hmm. to expose all the issues, have rigorous debate on it, make some solid changes, let the rest of the world know that we're open for business from an insurance perspective, and help bring relief to the consumers in Louisiana.
Because what it does in a special session, and you and I talked about this before the last regular session when talk started moving towards, we're going to put together a package of bills that is going to be like its own special session. And the concern there was once you're in a regular session, everything's on the table. And there's so much room for distraction. When you have a special session, you lose that room for distraction because you're hyper-focused.
Not just distraction. You're right, though. I mean, you know, legislators get, over 1,000 bills that they're going to have to make decisions on and have committee hearings on. But also the other thing, Brian, is the leverage. You know, you have a particular set of bills that you want to have, you know, you want to see through, and other legislators. So you get into that horse trading. I'll support this bill if you don't support that bill, and back and forth. You eliminate a lot of that, or most of that, with a special session.
Yes. Yeah. And between the distraction, the overwhelming number of bills, and what can be negotiated away, what can be traded away on the back end. If you have a special session and you keep the call very direct, you're able to fix things on a very direct level. That being said, though, with everything that got done with property last time around, don't get it twisted. We still need this.
We still need this. Look, you know, we like your listeners know, I've said before, property reform, we had substantial movement, and we have companies coming back to Louisiana. They are going through the process. I have been on the road a lot the last several weeks. I've been doing town halls, meeting with consumers, with business owners, with individuals and families. I've been on the road meeting with insurance companies as frequently as last week, talking about the property reform we done. And just like we were talking about economic development, you got to get out there and sell. Right. Same thing with Louisiana on insurance. We're selling Louisiana, and I'm telling you, the markets are taking notice. Mm-hmm. The other thing, which is a positive, reinsurance markets. We talk about reinsurance a lot. That overall market was not heavily impacted this year. So, you know, the forecast or rates are going to either flatten or come down slightly on reinsurance costs, which is good for us as consumers.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm very bullish on the fact that we're moving in the right direction, and consumers should anticipate relief.
I've been wanting to ask you about that reinsurance end of it because the way you've described it here before is like it doesn't matter if a hurricane hits us; it just matters if a hurricane hits somewhere. We saw this year a hurricane hit somewhere that doesn't get hit by hurricanes. Did that change anything as far as? I mean, is that like a one-off as far as reinsurance would be concerned, or does that open a new chapter of worry?
Well, if you're talking about the storms that impacted North Carolina and that, look, you know, unfortunately for a lot of folks in that region, that wasn't hurricane-related damage. Most of it was water, flood. Okay. And so that didn't impact the property market as large as it could have. Okay. So there's not a lot of reinsured damage. So the cost didn't go up there.
Understood.
Most of, and again, if you saw the news articles and if you know people that live there, it was flood. Yeah. So that's going to be more of a NFIP coverage.
Okay.
For those that had it.
Will that have repercussions on us as well?
Well, as taxpayers, it certainly
Yeah.
has the opportunity there.
What's the latest in the NFIP? Has there been any movement there?
Look, I'm excited that we have, with the leadership of the House, with the Speaker, with Mike Johnson, and then Steve Scalise as the Majority Whip, and with our entire congressional delegation. I mean, they are pushing hard to get to the bottom of the unaffordability of flood that we're all experiencing here in Louisiana and around the country as well. So I think that they're going to, continue to push. We're going to get more transparency on that product and on the pricing. And I know that they're fighting hard every day on that.
We got Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple in with us. Let's roll back the clock to what did get done versus what didn't get done in the last session. On the property front, a lot of work got done. On the auto front, we ran into some insurmountable hurdles for that particular session. Talking about tort reform, talk about a couple of the bills that cross the lines between insurance and and lawyers. How do you have to go about things differently to get them across the finish line to where they're signed, sealed, delivered?
Yeah, look, well, with regards to the legal reform, we did. There were two bills that were passed. One was a prescription period, so the amount of time you have to bring litigation. It was increased from 1 year to 2 years. And there's a lot of talk that people believe that that's going to help lower the litigation ratio.
Okay.
Because you have more time to work things out before you go to trial.
Sure.
We'll see. The thing is, people are still going to they're still going to file suit.
Yes.
Right. This is whether or not it goes to trial.
Right.
But I'm also been hearing, conversations about the number of litigated claims that go to trial is like single digits.
Okay.
And that's come out in committee hearings and everything else. And so I don't know if that 2 year is truly going to how it's going to impact that single digit number to begin with.
Right.
But anyway, we'll see what happens there. Both sides said that there was some give and take on the 2 year, but at the end of the day, the 2 year did get passed. The other was a direct action bill. Louisiana was one of, I think, 3 states that had a direct action, meaning that when you get into litigation, you don't sue. If you and I are involved in an auto wreck and I decide to litigate against you, I don't sue Brian Haldane. I sue your insurance company by name. We've changed that direct action. It's now you. Your insurance company's still there. They're still going to pay if it's deemed that it's a claim that they have to pay and litigation expense and whatnot. But it's now you as an individual.
Talk about why that was important.
Well, I think the argument and the testimony we heard a lot was that juries are going to be less likely to award frivolous or excessive damages, monetary amounts, if they equate it with you as an individual and not your insurance company.
Right. Brian Haldane does not have commercials during the Super Bowl where Progressive would,
right,
or Liberty Mutual would. Like the pockets are much deeper when you talk about the company. So the perception is give them what you want, right? And so, and again, like I said, Louisiana was only one of, I believe it was 3 states that allowed to sue direct to the insurance company. So we've moved back to the mainstream, and you hear a lot of that. I heard a lot of that on tax reform about. We've got to move back to the mainstream. We got to get more like our other states. Well, that was an example. We need to get more like our neighboring states there. So those were 2. The one that the one that you hear most about was the collateral source bill that did get passed. It was vetoed. It needs to come back. Well, we need to look and see what we need to figure out what's going to work. We need to have a lot more people in the room in the conversation about how do we bring meaningful relief to people so that. Again, insurance companies want to come back, write our business at a lower rate, right? And it's all cost. The more they spend on a claim, the more they're going to charge us as consumers on premium. So we're having those conversations. And by the way, we've got another committee hearing December 12th coming up. I think that's a Thursday. And so, I would encourage your listeners to come participate in that process. Be there. Come tell your stories. Whether you've got a litigation story or a story about how your insurance is unaffordable and how it's impacting your family's budget, your budget, or your business's budget. We got Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple in with us. I'm glad you brought up the committee meeting. And well, let me stick with the collateral source thing. It's already passed once and got vetoed. Is it a matter of the language within, or does it just need a little more veto-proof support on the front end?
Brian, well, that's the conversation we've got to have.
Okay.
You know, and
Okay.
that's the one that we are starting to have with these committee hearings.
Mhm.
You know, again, the thing I like about these committee hearings is we're talking about cost drivers in our state. We all know we pay excessive insurance premiums, the highest in the country,
Yes.
maintain all the time. We need to understand as consumers, as citizens of Louisiana, why we're paying that. Is it because insurance companies are just making money hand over fist in our state? I don't know. Let's talk. I mean, I think I do know, but we're talking about that. Is it because claimants are making more money than they should? Is it because the medical or the legal? We're talking about all of that, and we need transparency on all that. And I keep saying transparency a lot because I hear the other side that doesn't want to change anything.
Right.
You know, we need
that
to.
should
We need
set
to
off the alarm that says why.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. Let's
You're the
figure
worst
out.
in the nation, and you don't want to change it. Why?
And again, I can't ever go stand in front of my fellow Louisianans and say you deserve to pay the highest rates in the country. It doesn't. That the math doesn't work for me.
We've got Tim Temple in with us for a couple more minutes. What's this time of year look like for your office right around it? Because I know as we're getting geared up for the session, I know what that looks like, and I know when you're out there selling towards trying to recruit more insurance companies to come to town and do business. But what's your office looking like this time of year? What's the focus?
Well, this is my first holiday season as commissioner, so
Think about that.
you and I are going to learn that together. But
Okay.
no, I can tell you I haven't slowed down. I've got meetings, interviews. We don't stop. We're doing town halls next week and the week after. I've got a lot of media. I'm moving around. I don't stop because this is too important to let off the gas.
I just was curious, like how much of it is informational about what? Because now's the time of year where you're changing your paperwork. You're getting the emails from HR about making sure you're set for next year and whatnot. And I didn't know how much that kicks all the way up the chain of y'all.
Yeah, I'm sure I get some of those emails, but like I said, I've just had my head down, and I am one of the things we're doing, spending a lot of time, is doing these town halls just to let people know what we've accomplished and what more we need to accomplish through the legislative process, and also just to hear the stories that people have. There's a lot of angst, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of fear that people are dealing with unaffordable insurance, and I certainly want to hear those stories, share those stories as I move around the state and let people know I am paying attention and I am doing everything that I can right now to help bring about change in the state so that insurance companies want to come back. And I say it time and time again, when we have companies coming back, that's when you as a consumer benefit because, when people are competing for your business, they're competing on two things, price and product.
Yeah.
You're, and on auto, for example, the product's about the same.
Sure.
You're looking at limit, and some companies may service better than others, but at the end of the day, the product's about pretty stable. It's premium, it's price. And so if an insurance company wants you to move from where you are to them, you're going to move on dollars. And so that's what we're trying to do. And the same is for homeowners as well, right? And
Of
so
course.
that's what we're doing. We're trying to bring companies to Louisiana so that you as a consumer have companies competing for your business, and you're going to move when the price is lower.
I recently had a deal on the homeowners front with getting a new roof.
Okay.
And we have Liberty Mutual Safeco. Love them. I did not imagine this process would be this easy. Now, a lot of it's on my roofing company who held my hand the whole way through, but could not have been, the insurance side could not have been more responsive, more cooperative. So while I want that rate to go down, at least I know the service is there.
Well, and look, and I'll tell you, in Louisiana, you ought to expect that service.
Sure.
I mean, we are paying these higher rates.
I say sure, but I was like legit surprised.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's it. When you have a claim, you expect that company to be there and handle it and work with you and walk next to you as you deal with that. And that's, as the commissioner of insurance, that's my job as a regulator, is to make sure that they're upholding their portion of it. And, we're doing that at the department. And when you have a problem with a claim, you can call the department and we will help.
He is Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple. Have yourself a great Thanksgiving, sir.
Thanks, you too.
Here's news. All right. I keep forgetting it's your first year in the gig. So let's do that next month. I got you down for the 18th, I believe. We'll be coming off the committee hearing, so a couple minutes for that, and then just kind of a year in review, kind of retrospective.
No, I'd love that.
So,
I hadn't thought about that.
yeah.
We'll do that. And then, the committee hearings, I think we're going to know then if we're going to do a January kind of kumbaya, bring all the committees back together again or what. So,
Hey, kill the mics for a second. somehow that conversation ended up on the Texas Law Hawk, which if you've never seen, go to YouTube and look up the Texas Law Hawk. Not during the show, John. I'm saying to the audience in general.
No, we want Texas Law Hawk.
By the way, that's the featured for today.
Okay. Sounds good. So, any clips for this segment?
Yeah, that Susan Bourgeois clip.
Okay. Is that George Bell or George Ball?
Bell.
Bell. Okay. Close. I got it as Bell, but I just want to
Oh. Byron is right back up. Okay, so Byron says I had plenty of politically opinionated professors. I let their opinions pass and kept my eye on getting my degree. I even regurgitated their opinions back to them to get the grade. Play the game, college kids. Byron makes my point for me. That's exactly my point. Is they're in a position to say, you will do as I say, and you will think what I think. And even if you don't really think it, you still have to regurgitate it. All right, we've got rain in the forecast, and this is the busiest travel day out there, so how's that going to mash up? Here is Emma Kate Cowan. .738 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We've got so normally at this time you'd hear DC Current presented by LABI, the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, their state's Chamber of Commerce. You can learn more about them at labi.org. However, Congressman Graves' office let me know 2-3 weeks ago that he was going to be out for today, and I don't know how I left his name on the rundown. Well, because he's every Wednesday, so he's in print. We have a typed out rundown, and on the rundown you'll see legally served with Franz Borghardt. It's typed out. It's part of the printed rundown, and there's segments that are day to day, right? Well, I just forgot to scratch him off the list for today. So, but this is a good thing because we had so much to get to, so many different topics to cover right now. So let's dive right back in. Coming up in our next hour, State Representative Mark Wright going to join us at 8:15. He was the author of HB 10. HB 10 was one of the more pivotal bills in the recent session on tax reform. And I want to talk about it. What does it mean for us? Does it actually save us dollars? We'll talk about that with Mark Wright. We've gotten a number of breakdowns on how the session went overall and what it meant for folks moving forward, what it meant for Louisianans moving forward. And one of my bigger takeaways of the special session on tax reform was it wasn't just about quote unquote tax reform. It was about lowering the cost of living for you and me and lowering the cost of doing business for prospective businesses. And that's where LED Secretary Susan Bourgeois comes in. She was quite vocal about what needed to get done and what got done. And I had her on yesterday, and one of the questions I had for her was about kind of the not just the sum being greater than, not just the whole being greater than the sum of the parts, but more to the point, once this session got done, do you have something that you can go out there and sell now? Can you go out on the road and sell Louisiana based off of the work that got done? And her answer, it I don't want to say it surprised me, but it was very reassuring to hear what she had to say.
I think we have lowered the cost of doing business for businesses, but there's another piece of that is, I don't want to say equally important, but pretty close, and that is simplifying the cost of doing, or simplifying doing business in Louisiana. Us having a franchise tax, it's an incredibly uncompetitive tax as it relates to business and industry, and we were one of the few states left that had it. So eliminating the franchise tax was dramatic. So it's not just the cost that adjusted for corporations and businesses doing existing in Louisiana. It is that we removed that barrier for that. We removed that barrier for additional investment in Louisiana. So lowering the tax rate overall on corporations and businesses is significant. Of course, that's important. But simplifying how they pay taxes and positioning Louisiana to be much more competitive, because it's not just to bring new business and industry into the state. It's for the businesses and industry here, for them to keep more money, to be able to reinvest in their businesses. At the end of the day means that's more jobs they can create. And we have to be attractive for reinvestment, not just new investment.
Love that answer on so many fronts, because it walks us down a completely separate path here. Yeah, it's great. We all want to go out and recruit, but think about the business owner who's already here. Think about the business owner who's already here that says, hey, what about me? I've already invested in Louisiana. I'm already employing people in Louisiana. I'm already paying my taxes in Louisiana. Can you lighten my load just a little bit? That's a fantastic angle, to be sure. And, oh, by the way, when looked at through the lens of small business as the backbone of the American economy, that's an even greater scale here in Louisiana. Small business is Louisiana business. We're not like some of the other states where you have unfortunately, we don't have the Fortune 500 companies. We don't have those monoliths over here. We have a lot of mom and pops. So if you're heading up economic development or you're looking in on a special session on tax reform, you need to be asking, how can we take those mom and pops and make them something huge? How can we, and I asked this, we're getting from the state level down to the local level, but I asked this of Mayor Broom yesterday in that, how do we find the next Todd Graves? How do we find the next Marucci? How do we take something that's here locally and make it global? And that plays into it as well. But one more point from Susan Bourgeois that I really walked away with something reassuring about was she had said that in her travels, in trying to sell the state, one of the takeaways that she's gotten from others is that the willingness to put in the work is worth as much as the work is itself. It's like a good faith gesture to different business communities to say, hey, all the resources you have in Louisiana, from the dirt under your feet to the people who stand on that dirt, to the river, to the ports, to everything we have working for us, cleaning up that business climate is unbelievably important, but showing that we want to clean the business climate carries with it that same weight. In fact, we talk with Tim Temple about this all the time too. Insurance Commissioner Temple, who was just in here, he talked about it last segment. He goes out there, talks about the reinsurance market. He says, they see what we're doing. All eyes on us. They see what we're doing and that we are willing to make a difference. So, the good faith is not lost on that one. We're at 744 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Oh, before we move on, I did mention it to Commissioner Temple that I just got a roof put on my house. I could not be a happier customer, y'all, because I utilized Parish Construction and Roofing. The folks at Parish, they say do business with someone you know. And it's a cute tagline, right? It's catchy. Do business with someone you know. And the intent behind that is don't do business with the guy in a random truck with an out-of-state license plate who rolls up on your house after a storm. That's the intent there. That's when they say do business with someone you know, that's what they mean. But my experience has been so much greater than that with Parish. When they say do business with someone you know, so from day one, I got a call from Zach over at Parish. And from day one through today, I can call Zach when I want. I can text Zach when I want. I can get a response back from Zach almost immediately every time around. Dealing with my insurance company has been a breeze because Zach has been right there, like figuratively holding my hand through the whole process, saying, this is how this is going to go. This is what they're going to offer up. This is what this means. And this is how we move forward. I mean, the only thing that I've had to do thus far is literally pick out which type of shingle I want. Everything else has been just super easy because I'm doing business with someone I know, which means it's someone I can call. It's someone I can trust, someone who's going to be there on the other end of that phone. It's parishbuilt.com. Parishbuilt.com. Fill out the little form on the homepage. Get them up on your roof to give it a look at parishbuilt.com. All right, news dump time. Here in Baton Rouge, Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome, her office put out the Thanksgiving holiday curbside garbage and recycling collection schedule. The Starwood Court collection facility is going to be closed tomorrow and Friday in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. Residential garbage and out-of-cart woody waste and recycling will not be picked up tomorrow. Any garbage or recyclables not collected on Thanksgiving Day will be collected on the next regularly scheduled collection day. City Parish curbside garbage and recycling services will resume on Friday. In addition, the North landfill is going to be closed on Thanksgiving Day. That will reopen on Friday as well. Republic Services Recycling Drop-Off Center on Tom Drive, that will remain open during the holidays. And as always, hit up 311 if you've got any issues. 311 is where you go for any issues on that front. That is story number one in the news dump. Story number two, also coming from the mayor's office. This is kind of cool. This afternoon, 4 p.m., Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome will join the Prince Hall Grand Lodge Masons to announce the Grand Lodge renovation project to begin at the historic Prince Hall Masonic Temple. This development will create 46 mixed-income housing units, providing more affordable housing for families in the area. So for those unfamiliar, and it's on North Boulevard. It's 1335 North Boulevard. If you're unfamiliar with it, as you cross over the North Boulevard overpass, it's that gorgeous old building that's just off to the side. It's one of those buildings in Baton Rouge where you just look at it and you're like, man, what was that in its heyday? It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But this announcement today is one of a handful of adding more housing, affordable housing to Baton Rouge. And it's kind of cool because this is just a couple of blocks away from where we're at right here in downtown Baton Rouge, where we're at right here on Government Street in the Guarantee Building. That's just, 2 blocks over, 4 blocks up. That's really cool. But the other cool part is if instead of going over to North Boulevard, you just scooch up Government Street, the Lincoln Hotel, that's going to be added to this mix as well. It should be fun to see just how they turn out, what they end up looking like. What does affordable housing equate to in the long term? And how does it impact the Baton Rouge market? God knows we need it. But how does it impact the Baton Rouge market? So 2 really cool buildings, 2 historical buildings. I don't know if they're on the historic registry, but I mean, when you're looking around Baton Rouge, it's one of those ones where you say, man, what was this in its heyday and how can we bring it back to life? Speaking of which, I want your input. Facebook Live. Chime in. Let me know. What other buildings around town? Give me, if not a direct address or rough address or the name of the building or whatever. What building would you like to see come back to life in the city? Look, it's one of my favorite things to do on this show is dream about our potential and where we could be. So let's talk over on Facebook Live. You got a building you want to see them bring back to life? Which one is it? Where is it? And what would it look like if you were king for a day, right? All right, we got Your Money Now coming up in just a little bit. Hey, long break for the holiday weekend, but Talk 107.3 presents a weekly conversation with St. George Mayor Dustin Yates. Monday afternoons, 5 p.m. We're calling it Mondays with the Mayor. You can watch the show every week on the City of St. George Facebook page. Mondays with the Mayor. Mondays at 5 right here on Talk 107.3. Here's Your Money Now. I got to get the... What the? This can't be real. Hey, good morning. I just saw your text. Yeah. I'll give him a call. What is this? That's fried fish. That's a beautiful thing. I will. Thank you. I'll even share it with John. Thank you. Hey, Southern's going to roll on Saturday? I tried telling Congressman Carter, and he's like, hey, we're all winners. And I'm like, no. SWAC belongs to Southern this year. Yeah. I've been vocal. Oh, I saw Hightower was over there. My guy, repping the blue and the gold. I love that man. I coached girls basketball with him. He's the best. Yeah. Always. Sorry, not sorry for the delay getting back in right there. Mama Jag in the house this morning. She's our director of first impressions up at the front desk. She is not just Mama Jag in this house, but over at Southern as well. So last work day before the Bayou Classic, she's gonna be in rare form. Dropped off some fried catfish.
I smell that.
That's man. Whew. Yeah, I need to close that lid back up real quick because I don't want to chew during the segment, especially in this segment where we're talking about food.
Right.
Saw this one over at Louisiana Radio Network. You probably heard it in the bottom of the hour as well. Louisiana's ranked 10th for most expensive state for groceries, with residents spending an average of $283 per week in 2023, compared to the national average of $270. Other southern states also facing high costs. Mississippi's around $290, Texas $286. UNO professor of economics Walter Lane says, despite a slowdown in inflation over the last year, a lot of Louisiana residents still perceive rising prices due to costs remaining significantly above pre-2021 levels.
People feel the higher prices, but they're mistakenly calling it inflation, but inflation's pretty much gone away.
Yes, he's correct about that. But the difference between inflation and the impact on your own personal budget, those waters get very, very muddied, and they should, because what does inflation matter except for how much it costs you, right? Everything else is for high level discussions and whatnot. This is where the rubber meets the road. By the way, per the Louisiana Radio Network, Thanksgiving serves as a key indicator of grocery trends. This year, a 15-item Thanksgiving meal costs $65 on average. That's down 3% from 2023, but up 42% from before the pandemic in 2019. Land says Thanksgiving is getting cheaper year over year.
Thanksgiving dinner this year has gone down by about $3 or $4 from what it was 2 years ago. It's actually gone down in the last couple of years.
As prices stabilize but remain elevated, a lot of Louisiana shoppers continue to feel financial strain at the checkout line. Lane says, compared to eating out, though, it's much cheaper.
For food at home, actually, over the last year, inflation has only been 1%, which is less than the rest of inflation. Now, restaurant food has been like 4%. That's still pretty substantial.
Because they still have to deal with a whole other aspect that you don't have to deal with when you're bringing your food home or when you're cooking your food at home, and that's staffing. I mean, you get your checkout lines and whatnot, but you don't have to be staffed up with kitchen, wait staff, maitre d', bus boys, the whole works, dishes, the whole works. It's just the level of people, the number of people that have to be paid is a lot different. So a lot more is going to be factored into a restaurant price versus an at-home price. So there's that. We definitely still feel the sting, though. And not just Thanksgiving. I know they use Thanksgiving as the barometer, but, man, the day-to-day, the week-to-week, the Sam's Club Costco trip, the Mathern's trip, like everybody's battling right now, so you're looking for value wherever you can. That's why I tell you about the rewards app all the time. It's not just the cash back, or it's not just the rewards program. It's the deals of the week every week. And we've all been forced to adapt to that world. So as prices continue to stabilize and, God willing, go down a little bit, we'll have that added, weapon in the arsenal with the specials. All right, hour 3's next. Holy crap. Mm-hmm. Mm. Good God, woman. That is the perfect amount of like salt and pepper and a little bit of cayenne. Yep. With some heat.
Give it a little kick.
Mm. All right. We get any takers on the building thing?
Let's see.
Affordable housing equals communism.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I don't think the affordable housing is meant to address the homeless population, though. I don't cross those over, because they're separate. Okay. 806 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing. Busy third hour. We're going to break down the recently concluded legislative session on tax reform. Mark Wright, State Representative Mark Wright out of Covington, going to join us in our next segment. He was the author of HB 10. HB 10, as it was written, quote, provides for the rate of the state sales and use tax and provides for the exemptions, exclusions, credits, and rebates claimed against sales and use taxes. All right, what went into that? That was basically the return of the penny, right? That's the long and the short of it, the return of the penny that got knocked down to the 0.45. Well, we're going to get into not just the what, but the why as soon as we have him on in our next segment. Also, George Bell's going to be in the house today. You know George from Capillary United Way. Did you know he plays trumpet, like, really, really well? He's got a concert coming up, but we're going to talk about it at 8:35. Right now, though, it is time for This Day in History. All right, John.
All right.
This day in history.
Going back to 1870, where the New York Times dubs baseball the national game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was. It was the national pastime for some time.
Absolutely.
Not anymore, though.
I mean, you know.
It's football now.
Right.
No offense to baseball. Still love baseball very,
but it
very
stood
much.
its ground for a long time.
No, it did. It did. But, I mean, it clearly got surpassed somewhere over the last 20, 25 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. What, did all the steroid use that came?
I don't think so.
You think? Okay.
No, I don't. And if anything, the steroid use.
Because it seems like in the 90s, it was just fizzling out. So I didn't know if that had
yes,
something to do with
at the same time that the NFL and the NBA were on their way up.
Yeah.
At the same time that, Michael Jordan became the face of everything.
Yes.
I want to be like Mike. It was like everything. Baseball refused to keep up.
Yep. So high on their pedestal, they were like, we can't get knocked down, right?
No. It's but you have the traditionalists, the purists, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to tell them, no, the sport's going to go away, not go away, but it won't be on the same level. That's where we're at now, is they're trying to rebuild.
Yeah. 1920 here, first American superhero film, The Mask of Zorro, premieres. So.
Okay.
Released in New York.
All right.
Speaking of New York, 1924, the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is held.
Hey, how about it?
Yeah. It's been a while since we heard about this brand in a while. 1962, the first Boeing 727 jet rolls out of assembly plant in Renton, Washington. It's been a while since we heard from Boeing. Let's see. 1978, San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk were assassinated by former Supervisor Dan White at City Hall. That happened today, 1978. Fast forward all the way to 2013. Tiger Woods is named PGA Tour's Player of the Year for the 11th time.
Darn right he is.
Whew. History is funny to me, okay? Because when you research these things, the things that pop up, check this out. 2017, 8 donkeys were freed from jail after 4 days in India for eating plants.
What?
Why would that even... I know. What is that? Is that notable? I don't know. I just figured it was funny. History, man.
It is.
Just funny. 2018 here. Convicted U.S. murderer Samuel Little confirmed connected to 90 more murders of women after confessing details. Yikes. 90 more women. Excuse my ignorance here, but Samuel Little, I don't know. Maybe he just went under the radar for me on who.
Samuel
big
Little?
deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have Hulu, but there's a Hulu documentary on him.
Oh, not surprising
Yeah.
at all. Documentaries. All right. Moving on to birthdays.
Yep.
We're good? Okay. Bill Nye here.
Bill Nye, the
69.
pseudoscience guy. Awesome.
Pseudoscience, yeah. Bruce Lee today as
Yep.
well, celebrating a birthday. Well, not celebrating, but anyway, Jimi Hendrix today as well. Jaleel White.
Urkel's today?
Urkel today.
All right.
Yeah. James Avery as well. Speaking of television.
Man, Miss James Avery.
Yep.
Admiral Percy Fitzwallace.
Yeah. Anybody else this day?
Yeah, we got Caroline Kennedy was born on this day
Okay,
in
see that.
1957. Add to that list, I got a couple of different athletes born on. Also musician Tommy Dorsey, born on this day in 1905. In the sports world, kind of varied here. Former Dolphins quarterback Don Strock, one of the most forgotten about guys in football. He was the Dolphins quarterback in between Greasy and Marino. Don Strock was born on this day in 1950. Pudge Rodriguez, speaking of baseball, Ivan Rodriguez, former Texas Rangers Hall of Fame catcher, was born on this day in 1971. Nick Van Exel, former Lakers and Nuggets guard. Not the most memorable if you're a fan of the NBA, but if you're a fan of Jim Rome, that's where the term Van Smack comes from. So, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers kicker Martin Gramatica was born on this day in 1975.
Gotcha. Yeah, nice. As far as deaths go today, as I mentioned earlier, the assassination of Harvey Milk.
Yep.
Movie, right? Sean Penn.
Yeah.
Was that okay?
Yeah, he played Milk.
Yep. As far as other notable deaths, any more?
Oh yeah, we got gangster Babyface Nelson died on this day in 1934. Add to that, you had nope, that was the only one of the other one I had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. As far as national days go here, Drinksgiving today.
Yeah.
Along with National Jukebox Day.
Yeah. Drinksgiving's a big one because while you're in the kitchen, you're prepping all night, and you just pour a little more and pour a little more and pour a little more and pour a little more. Hey, I missed one birthday though. Vito Genovese.
Okay.
Yeah. Genovese, born on this day in 1897. All right, that is this day in history. We are due up for a quick break. When we come back from that break, breaking down the recent legislative session on tax reform with State Representative Mark Wright next. All right, George, glad you got in, man. Sorry about that. It's supposed to be opened up right at 8.
Oh, yeah. Studio. All right. Yes, sir. We'll have you on here in about 2 minutes. Thank you. Just cut that commercial yesterday. How you doing, sir? All right. Oh, I got the trumpet in hand. I love it. I love it. Pitching concert I'm doing in Ascension. Oh, that's amazing. My daughter plays it. She's in band in high school. Cool. And she plays the trumpet. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, bless you. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. Those first few years of yeah. Yeah, it was really rough. What was it? Hot cross buns? What is it? What was it? It was like one of the ones. Yeah, one of those early ones. Yeah. And it's on repeat. It's just like, whew, let's give it a break. Give it a break for like an hour. You know? It's a hard instrument too. Yeah. And my wife played trumpet as well. Oh, so my wife played trumpet, and now my daughter's playing. And my daughter doesn't want any tips from my wife. She just wants to do it on her own. She wants to. And my wife's like, you could really advance in band if you let me teach you. No, I want to do my own. So she's on that. Well, it's one of those things that they'll figure it out. But she's blessed to have somebody who understands how.
Oh, he already called. We don't have to call him.
Oh yeah, he's on the line.
Cool.
Well, I've been hearing the ads, man. They sound good.
For the concert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good run. If I wasn't playing it, I'd be interested in going. She's the only one in band with a black trumpet. Yeah. Is it Dutch now? What's that? This is at Denham. Oh, Denham. Okay. Yep. All right. Yeah. That's my other daughter with her. So, yeah, the only one in band with a black trumpet. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's great. Oh, thank you. That's great. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we get it. Like, just those early, like that early first and second years. Oh, yeah. Man, that is rough. Talking about having a young trumpeter. Oh, yeah. I think the only thing worse is maybe violin. Violin, yeah. Oh. Let's see what we got going on here.
Okay. It's early for fried fish. It's good, though. 816 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Time to dive back into the special session that was concluded last week. Joining us now to talk about this, a representative who had a pivotal role in said session. That would be State Representative Mark Wright from Covington. Mark, how are you this morning, man?
Doing wonderful. It's a good week, my favorite week of the year, honestly. I don't know about you. So it's good to have nothing to do in the Capitol this week, right?
Oh, I would imagine so, yeah. Golly, could you imagine if it rolled over all the way to Yeah. That would have been the most unproductive unproductive week, to be sure. But a lot of work got done. I want to talk about your bill in particular in a little bit. I want to talk about HB 10 in a little bit. But can I start with your just overview of how much got done and what effects you think it'll have?
Now, look, I think it was pretty historic at the end of the day when we talk about it, in the future.
Mm-hmm.
People have been trying to do this in a variety of forms. I mean, going back 40 years, you've got these studies. I pointed out one in one of the bills. I got one from 2015. We were able to accomplish it. We weren't able to get everything we wanted. I was so excited about the proposal. Disappointed we couldn't get some of the things we wanted, but truthfully, we moved a lot there. A lot of the impediments to tax structure in Louisiana for business and investment. And I mean, the focus is obviously a lot of people if you want to head in a direction of zero income tax, you had to do these things. There's more you'd have to do to get there, but the bottom line is it was pretty significant. I tell you, I was depressed Thursday when things seemed to be slowing down. I was really worried it was going to end. Are you kidding me? We're going to fail at this, but it didn't. We made some compromises. Obviously, I mean, the governor's team did wonderful. They did some wonderful things working this thing, and I think at the end of the day, we'll love it.
So, how much are you talking about moving towards zero income tax, which that would be one of the goals here? But whether we're paying via income tax or property tax or sales tax, I would think the bigger goal here would be the lower cost of living, the lower overall tax burden for Louisianans.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I disagree a little bit on some of that concept. I mean, look, everybody gets focused on the level of taxation, right? Whether it be 5%, 4%, and income or whatever. But the truth is, some taxes are more productive than others, and sales tax, for the most part, has been agreed to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Look, sales tax is supposed to be a true barometer of the economy and growth over the years. So, whereas incomes, let's just start with personal, are not so much that way. They get a little variety, a little variant, that you don't necessarily want. So, and I mean, here's the thing, Brian. At the end of the day, and this is the thing I kept saying to people, and so many others did too, when we look at the states that have been successful, right, they've done certain things. And I think in the flat tax realm compared to the zero income realm, even more so, right?
Okay.
So this, at the end of the day, I can try to explain it. We can all do that in a variety of ways. There's just a lot of proof in the pudding for some of this stuff, and we've got to recognize that. I mean, what was the thing that was going on in the governor's race? I mean, the idea you step across the Texas line and all of a sudden you gain 10 years and there's just some truth to that. And we got to stop pretending that we know better or Louisiana's different. And that's what I think we did. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that amendment in March is going to be huge. But the moment that the governor's office, Governor Landry and the office decided to go for this, and I mean, I know you and I, my good friend Richard Nelson was a big architect of some of this. That's when I knew it could be successful. We could not do this as a legislature. You needed someone who was going to quarterback, block, tackle, push, and put resources and reputation down the line in March to tell the public. I mean, you got to run a statewide campaign for some of this stuff. I know I'm going to start ranting in a moment, but you don't do that with a bunch of legislators. I mean, I love my colleagues, but at the end of the day, you need someone who's got some real skin in the game to kind of push it forward, and I feel really good about it.
We're talking with State Representative Mark Wright, HB 10. He's the author of HB 10 that just made its way through the recent session on tax reform. And you mentioned you cross state lines. That was when Revenue Secretary Nelson was campaigning for governor. That was his whole tagline: if you want to live 30% longer, get a 30% raise. That was where he was headed with that, and it's ringing true on the raise end thus far as y'all continue to work. Now, when I mentioned earlier, Representative Wright, about lowering of the overall tax burden, I'm talking about tightening up the budget, which is probably going to happen at least a little bit in the upcoming fiscal session.
Yeah, no, Roger, that's absolutely true. I mean, that is the second part of this. I mean, I don't want to be a stickler, but to a certain extent, one of the parts of that conversation I would try to remind people is like, listen, that's not really what's on tap here. I mean, we got caught up into the idea of a potential deficit, stuff like that, and that's important because that a number of things had changed. But we were there for the reform part. We were there for the revenue part. So I was glad we did some of the things we did as far as like committing to budget reduction and down the road. But at the end of the day, it was like, let's focus on the reform first. What's the kind of thing that's going to drive growth? We can definitely go after the budget. That takes some time. I think. Let me say this: that, some people were asking for certain things, and I think sometimes we forget. I mean, the governor's his staff, they've only been in this job for less than a year. You can't walk into all these departments and start really doing big things until you've got time in that and can move forward. So I'm very confident we will.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just there's a lot of work there. But you're right. I mean, look, you really hit it, though. I mean, you're raising revenue to pay for the cost of government, right? Like, it's just like you take a job and you got bills at home. It's very, very similar. We do have to focus on that, and you can reduce a lot of your tax burden by doing those things. So, but you can't get there until you get the growth. You follow me? Like, it might be a chicken and egg thing. I don't think so. I think it's important. I think Richard Nelson understood that. I mean, we were seatmates, so we talk about this all the time. I mean, he's not the only one. There's been plenty of people doing great work on this, but you get the companies coming in, you get the jobs growing, the projects that start to hire people. You start to see people come in and move. That's where you start moving the needle in my mind.
Oh no, absolutely. And look, I back in high school when I was roaming that patch of heaven in between Yankee and Jefferson and Covington, I used to have a coach that used to say you can't eat an elephant in one bite, and it's when it comes to looking at tax reform, tightening up the budget, and making it more, economically friendly here in Louisiana. It's just a matter of the legislature deciding what bite do they want to take first. And that's what y'all did with this session. In fact, you took a couple of them. So another thing that Richard Nelson said, I should say repeatedly on this show, was don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And y'all managed to do that as well, or managed to not do that as well.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, there's a variety of forms this could have taken. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, 3, 4, 5 of them would have been something similar. But there was nothing about this that everybody loved, right? There was never going to be like, oh, man, there's going to be some parts you don't care for. I mean, even in the bill I did, there's parts I didn't like. But at the end of the day, like, that's ultimately the case. What do they say about history? It's not, doesn't necessarily, it rhymes. You know what I'm saying? The idea of, like, there's a variety. They all look somewhat similar. You got to pick a choice and move forward. And I think, that's exactly what we did, like you said.
Yeah. Okay, so HB 10, tell us what it did or tell us what it will do.
So HB 10 is the sales tax bill that was offered, that was initially introduced, but then it was combined with HB 1, which is the income tax portion. And so basically it's the one, I don't want to say the one big, but it is the big revenue bill from this. So sales tax, as everybody knows now, went up to 5%. That was because we weren't able to change or transition some of the service tax, sales tax options. So in other words, you had to raise it up to ensure that you're going to get the revenue you're expecting. I mean, sales tax is like cash flow in a month for a state, so you're kind of moving forward to a broader one. But, here's the thing: we're going to have an RAC at the end of the year that, by all intents and purposes, seems like it's going to be strong. And then ultimately, you can get a picture within a year or so whether or not you can bring that sales tax down pretty soon. But that's going to take a year or two before we really start to see evidence for that. And then the income. I mean, the one thing that was solid among everybody involved, from the governor on down, was cranking down the income to 3%. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people will see that as a positive. That's definitely a part of the economy and revenue that people want to see. And then, you've got a bunch of standard deductions, whether it be for seniors or income and things like that even that out. And I think people will see it. I know they're going to see it in their paycheck, as long as they're out there and working in the economy.
We got State Representative Mark Wright with us for a couple more minutes. And the initial blowback on an increase in sales tax is always that it's regressive and it hurts the poor disproportionately. But Mark, I push back on that because you've got exceptions and exclusions built in. The necessities, like nothing about this sales tax affects the necessities. The food, the natural gas, the electricity, the prescription drugs, gas to get to and from work. None of these things are included in that, are they?
No, exactly. I mean, and I have a little different opinion than some people, but I think like even the food and beverage exemption is not necessarily as great as some people want it to be. But you're right. Like, it's very difficult to make an argument that we didn't take care of the poor or the people who aren't working. I mean, for crying out loud, the poor, like, if you're on WIC and other things like that, you're not paying tax on a lot of that anyway. So what I'm saying is I totally agree. I think it's very difficult to make that argument. I think, and look, there is an argument too, which I agree with, is that everybody should be a part of this. Even if it's a small part. I've never bought into the regressive concept as being, concerning, right? And I think at the end of the day, we move forward with more and more people being part of this and pulling the wagon.
When it comes to the income tax side of this and flattening down to 3%, did you just fold Julie Emerson's HB1 into it? I mean, was it just copy and paste?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really that. That's what the delay on Thursday was about. Well, we have wonderful staff. They've been working their butt off for a couple of months now. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, when you fold one bill into another, there's a lot of work that has to be done. Yeah. And it just took time to work through the language. It was amazing to me, and I've been playing around with tax reform for a while now. How much you have to spill, how much ink you have to spill on something like this to get the bill in order. It's just, there's so much there. It's one of the reasons why we went forward with this, is because we needed to simplify it.
Last one before I get you out of here. This I know there's no way to actually predict it, but are y'all done with special sessions until at least the fiscal next year for the regular session, or is there a chance we're going to see more follow-up in the spring?
Ooh, good question. If I had a bet, I'd say no. We're not going to have a special. We'll go in April. I think a lot of people, me included, quite frankly, have private lives they got to attend to, and spend a lot of time, well spent, by the way. Could not find something better to do, but I do think that's probably going to be it. But I don't make those calls, so we'll kind of see.
He is State Representative Mark Wright. We always appreciate the time and the information. Have yourself a great Thanksgiving, man.
You too. Thank you, Brian. Take care.
Always. 8:30 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. All right, we got news, we got traffic, we got weather. After that, got a Christmas concert coming up we want to tell you about. George Bell's in the house next. Oh, come on over, man. Whew. All right, so we'll do a little, the concert itself is, I don't have a whole lot on it. Yeah, well, no, I have 7 p.m., Price LeBlanc, Pace Center, and Gonzales. So I really want to talk about how, and if you want to cover some United Way stuff too, we can do that. But I really wanted to talk about how, just kind of the magic of the season, and we get into that time of year, and then get you to play one or two songs if possible. Yeah. Awesome. Do you need to get a level? Yeah, let's check his level real quick on. Because he's going to play trumpet into the microphone, so you need to know where talking versus playing where he needs to be. Sitting. But I'm saying let's test it now. Pull them out of 1 and roll on it in Adobe so you can see where it registers at. We're good? All right. Yeah. Cool. We're set. Really? Okay.
The Manship or the River Center. I do 2 there, but this one in Gonzales is the first.
Okay.
And then I've always done one in my hometown of Thibodeau.
You're from Thibodeau.
Thibodeaux. Get out of here. All right. See, my homeboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The and so's Cade Wasan from our sister station 104.5.
Yeah.
He's
From Thibodeau?
Well, he's from down. Well,
yeah.
Homo. Okay. Yeah.
Dulac.
One of those.
Yeah, well, yeah.
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 That's where my wife's from, Dulac.
Okay.
And I jumped between Dulac and Dularge.
Oh yeah.
Family on both sides, so yeah, I kind of jumped around a lot.
I know where that is.
Oh yeah. Way down the bar.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so I've been doing one down there as well.
There's something about Christmas music that, and you're playing the trumpet, it brings it top of mind. It's just different when played through horns. Christmas music, like what you're fed on the river,
Yeah.
versus what okay, I can't find the recording anywhere, but Trombone Shorty did "Oh Holy Night" on a TV show called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
Oh.
And then they brought in this whole all this brass all at once.
Yeah.
The episode, the show has been off the air for 20 years now.
Yeah.
But the episode was about the time, right after Katrina.
Okay.
And the whole premise of the episode was all these New Orleans musicians were just looking for gig work because they were homeless.
Right.
So the show Studio 60 brought in all these musicians just so they could get them a paycheck.
Wow.
But it was Trombone Shorty was kind of the featured of the whole thing.
Wow.
And when all the horns kick in, when everything it brings this
goosebumps,
level of
man.
emotion. I
Yeah,
know.
goosebumps.
I know. It's
And he's such a fine player, man.
Oh.
He's such a good player. And trumpet too. He plays trumpet too.
I think he plays everything.
Yeah. Now, did you come up with listening to him when he was real young?
Oh, yeah.
When he Jazz Fest.
when he was when Harry Connick Jr. would
Yeah.
bring him on stage. Yes.
Oh man,
Yeah.
those are memorable
Prodigy,
times, man.
absolute
Yeah,
prodigy.
yeah. The dude had it early on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's so special about New Orleans, man. There's just so much rich music legacy that comes from that area.
Yeah.
And horn players especially.
It's amazing how the further you get away from that epicenter, it just I don't think people up here understand you get the human jukebox, right?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
that's
and they get a lot of guys from
Yes,
New
they
Orleans
do.
too. The marching
But
bands.
high school bands,
Yeah.
in the New Orleans area,
Yeah. Yeah.
I went to St. Paul's.
Yeah.
We're for real.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
bunch of white boys on the north.
Oh,
shore,
yeah.
but
Oh,
we
yeah.
throw down.
Oh yeah.
And we'll go out for before Endymion, before Bacchus, the Battle of the Bands before
Oh yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
The shows you will see the level of performance of high school kids, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah.
Not even people who have mastered their craft yet.
Yeah. No, it's in the water, man.
Yep.
Definitely rich.
Are you gonna be playing that clip that you sent me?
Nah.
Okay. I just wanted to double check.
Nah.
I still have it queued up. I don't know.
I should have done it back in the last hour when we missed out on Garrett. But Yeah, it blew right past.
So this is it for the week, huh? You guys are, yeah. Good for you.
2 segments to go, and then we're out of here.
Good for you. Moon.
I know. God bless.
It's so funny.
All right, let's get a look at that forecast real quick, as a lot of folks will be on the road. Looks like you're going to have to deal with a little bit of mist and fog this morning. Once that burns off by about 10 o'clock this morning, you're going to have a lot of cloud cover, and it should break for the afternoon. About 2 p.m., the sun's going to peek out for a little while. As we get into the overnight hours, that's when the rain's going to roll through, which is a good thing if you're looking at budgeting your travel time around it. 10 p.m. tonight until about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, there's anywhere from a 30 to a 60% chance of rain, some probable overnight thunderstorms as well. Now, that is going to bring with it much cooler temperatures. Today's high is getting up to 78. Tomorrow, we top out at just 66. Looking ahead to Friday, high of 59 with an overnight low Friday night into Saturday morning of 36. So, looking ahead to tailgating for LSU versus Oklahoma, yeah, it's going to be off to a cold start on Saturday. But the main story here is, if you're going to be on the roads for Thanksgiving, it's looking like the majority, if not all of the rain, is going to be a time where there will be fewer people on the road, fewer cars on the road. So that's a good thing on that front. Right now, we are looking at a little bit of mist out there, 61 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. .838 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Man, yeah, the holidays are upon us. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Advent kicking in. We've got the entire Christmas season on the way. It's about to be a magical time of year. I love this time of year every year for so many different reasons. And when I heard the spot right here on Talk 107.3 FM that this is the time that the Christmas concerts are about to kick in. And one of those concerts is coming up on December 6th, 7 p.m. at the Price LeBlanc Pace Center. That's out in Gonzales. George Bell and friends. Joining us now in studio is George. George, how are you, man?
I am doing well, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Not glad to have you on here. I think most of the folks know you from the United Way, Capital Area United Way.
Sir.
That's the day job, right?
That is.
Before we get into the night job, or the side gig, as it were, how things at United Way?
You know, this is a busy time of year for Capital Way or United Way, in that we are completing a number of campaigns, especially our larger campaigns. And we have a lot of events that have been held over the last couple of months. Golf tournaments, jambalaya cook-offs, things like that. And the support that we have received has just been incredible. We're on the brink of a new event that is coincides with the Giving Day, and it's called Red Stick Rally. And this is something that you'd be on the lookout for. The Advocate has hosted this campaign that is designed to help local nonprofits, a select group of local nonprofits, in raising funds that commences, or I say it culminates on the day of the giving next Tuesday.
Yeah. Which the timing of having you in here could not be more perfect.
Exactly.
It is Giving Tuesday, and we're at a point right now where I know a lot of people tighten their own personal belts around COVID, and then the presumed or the assumed recession afterwards, and then
right.
you got the inflation hitting the wallet as well. But we're starting to see the break in the clouds here when it comes to the generosity never went away. Just the what was required at home kind of beefed up for a little bit. So from United Way's perspective, have y'all seen that sort of return to giving?
We're starting to see it now. We've been fortunate in that we've had 4 consecutive years of campaign growth, albeit small, minor growth. But we have seen growth compared to other organizations and nonprofits, and especially United Ways that have not had that level of success. But the other thing we're seeing is a rise in demand for support.
Yeah.
So coupled with, the flattening of support from donations, it's been tough for a number of nonprofits in this area. So this comes at a good time. This Red Stick Rally comes at a real good time.
Absolutely. So be on the lookout for that coming up on Giving Tuesday. And yeah, the United Way, it's just it's the tried and true, man. It's where you can go, and so many different other aspects of Baton Rouge are affected in a positive way because of United Way. Just that, I don't want to say centralization isn't the right word, but we let you focus rather than us having to focus and pick and choose,
But we do it with input from volunteers.
Yeah.
And that's really the secret sauce. The decisions that are made as to who and to what level we invest in programs and services really comes from the public, the people that volunteer and support us.
So Giving Tuesday coming up Tuesday, Capital Area United Way definitely needs to be in the mix for your dollars. And then, it is the holiday season as well, which is why we have you in here. So let's get to it. I didn't know until, I guess it was about this time last year at a Rotary Club meeting. I didn't even know you played trumpet.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, if you know, you know. But now you know.
Well, now I know.
But no, it's been a lifelong passion of mine. I've played ever since I was 9 or 10 years old in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And but it is one of those things that I've thoroughly enjoyed doing. And this season, marks the 12th year that I'm doing holiday jazz concerts in this community. So it really is nice. I call this particular year a December to remember because in the past I've just done, a couple of concerts here in town. But this year I have 4 concerts over about a 2-week period.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that is a full document.
It is.
To be sure. Especially when it's the busy time at the day job as well. So George Bell and Friends. Okay. How many friends do we got here? What does the concert look like?
So the concert that we're talking about in particular, the one in Gonzales, is going to be at the Pace Center, the Price LeBlanc Pace Center, on December 6th. That's Friday. And I'm going to have a different group of friends for this concert.
Oh.
For each concert, I try to do something that showcases the local talent. That is talent that lives in the area or talent that's from the area. And this show, I'm going to have a dear friend of mine who's from Gonzales, but for the last 10 plus years, he's been in Los Angeles area and has been quite successful there. His name is Kirk Wilson.
Okay.
And he's a talented keyboardist, guitarist, vocalist, arranger, writer. He and I used to attend the same church, and he was the music director there. But he's coming in. He's flying in for this show, and it's really going to be nice to reunite with him and put on this particular show.
Very cool stuff. Coming up December 6th, 7 p.m. at the Price LeBlanc Pace Center in Gonzales. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. If you look up George Bell and Friends on Eventbrite, it'll take you right to it. So a number of Christmas classics are going to be on the set list here.
Oh, yeah.
Give me some titles here. Throw me some songs out there that we might hear on December 6th.
So the set list is still being developed, but it'll be
But
songs
you've
like
got your favorites.
Oh yeah. It'll be like the Christmas song. Kirk does a beautiful job singing that song. Mary, Did You Know? That's a song that is going to be sung by another Gonzales resident, a gentleman by the name of James Clinton. James has been on several of my Baton Rouge shows, and just a beautiful song. There's some jazz arrangements that we do. We do a real nice arrangement of it's on to the theme of Jingle Bells, but it's a different kind of we call it the Bells of Poinsettia.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a different twist on it.
All right. Now, so when I called you up and said, can you come in today? I asked if you could bring your horn with you.
Of course.
Can you give us a sample? Maybe one of the ones we might hear on December 6th.
Certainly.
All right. Now, we're putting a lot of pressure on John here because this is a talk studio. We're not necessarily mic'd up for to be on point for a trumpet, but we're going to get it done. Let's roll.
All righty.
Awesome. Very nicely done. We got George Bell with us for another couple minutes. But what you said you've been playing since you were 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
What got you turned on to it in the first place?
Well, I always tell the story. I have an older brother that 5 years older, and he played trumpet.
Mhm.
And I grew up listening to him practice. He was a very good trumpeter. He was an all-state level trumpeter and played in and also was a music major in college. So growing up in a room next to him and hearing him practice all these Clark exercises and all that stuff just kind of stuck with me. And so when the time came for me to play, there was no question what I wanted to play, and he gave me a hand-me-down trumpet, and it started there.
Yeah. Man, it's amazing. So when I was growing up, I played the trombone.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
But come high school, I had to make the decision because I played basketball as well.
Yeah.
So basketball, Mardi Gras.
Oh, yeah.
Like, am I going to march or am I going to be on the court? Now, I opted to be on the court.
It's a tough choice.
It is a tough choice. It's absolutely a tough choice. But I got to tell you, in hindsight, I don't know that I made the right choice because, like, once you're done, as an athlete, you're done, right? I'm not carrying that with it. I can't walk in and with it. Music is like a foreign language. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly.
But I could not break out a trombone right now and play anything.
Yeah.
I'd be lucky to make sound at this point. So it's one of those things where I don't know. Per capita, I think you and I were talking about this before. Per capita, I think Louisiana,
rich.
We just pump it out, man. We got a lot of it, and it's not like your mom and dad have to force it into you.
There's such a culture of music and brass in particular. So we have done a real good job. And look, I got to give a shout out to Thibodeau. Thibodeau was known for having very strong, solid music programs. And same thing for Gonzales.
Yeah.
Ascension Parish has some wonderful high school music programs. Those high schools, they are all I consider high level school programs. So it's kind of neat.
Very, very much so. It's part of being a Louisiana. It's easy to be proud of.
It is.
We're going to go 1 minute over. I'm telling you that right now, John, because I got to give the details one more, and then I want to get one more song out of George here. It's George Bell and Friends coming up to Price LeBlanc Pace Center in Gonzales, December 6th, 7 p.m. Tickets are available right now on Eventbrite. Just look up George Bell and Friends. All right. Give me a 1 minute sample of one more we're going to hear on December 6th. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much for a couple minutes and for a couple tunes. He is George Bell. Check him out on Eventbrite. Price LeBlanc Center on December 6th. Quick break. We'll close it out next. Nailed it.
All right.
We hit the time on point. That was awesome.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was
so
fun.
much fun.
This was fun.
So much fun. I hope that's a little bit different for the listening audience as well.
Yeah. It's a good time of year to do that. And look, tell your daughter. Make sure she gets to watch this clip. Tell her if a little practice can go a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good.
All right. Well, have a good one, guys.
You too.
All right.
You too. Thanks again, George. Later, man. Thanks again. How awesome was that? How about it, Facebook?
That was a fantastic change of pace, man. Love it.
We need to do this shit more often.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? David St. Remain's coming in on Monday.
Oh, really? Tell him to bring
Because
the guitar,
he needs to bring his guitar,
Bring
huh?
the guitar.
Yeah. But I mean, it was good content.
Yeah.
Like, talk about United Way and Giving Tuesday coming up. It happens to map out that way, and then pivoted over to the concert, which, good to plug the concert.
Yep.
And then he entertained us a little bit.
Yeah.
Byron says it sounded great on the stream.
Okay, good.
Good.
Because on one hand, it could either blow out the speakers or it could be too low.
Yeah.
So I was worried about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, because we had to use the same mic for the trumpet that we did for the speaking part. So, Patrick says baseball's a fun sport here on radio. The rise of TV is what caused football to replace baseball as the American pastime. I completely agree with that. Because it's the storytellers that do the play-by-play and color commentary for baseball that make it that way. Like, baseball is a better sport on radio. Actually, the best sport on radio? It's basketball. Look, I'm biased. Basketball is my first love. But
where you're hearing the court,
you hear the
speakers on
they mic the rims.
court. Yeah.
They mic the
You're hearing
rims. Like, it just, all the individual sense. With baseball, you hear the crack of the bat, the pop of the glove, right? You hear the dirt as they slide. I get all that. But the sounds and the action is so fast, and the challenge of the play-by-play guy to keep up with it all and tell the story, and then the artistry of the color commentator to get in where you fit in. That is not an easy thing to do, which, by the way, if I could be biased again, we are so blessed in Louisiana to have Chris Blair and John Brady on the call for LSU men's basketball. Those two have a chemistry that I don't think you see very often. Like the Pelicans with Graffinini and JD, they're good, but they step on each other sometimes. John and Chris, holy shit, it's like Shakespeare the way it was meant to be performed. It's a beautiful thing. Patrick and Shahid they're still new together. I think it's like Shahid is third or fourth year doing it. Right. They're getting there.
Yeah.
They're getting there. But they're not going to be like the way that John Brady knows, I can get in for 8 seconds here and give some kind of description of something, and you get good information. You get insight into the game of basketball. How did I make this all about basketball? Patrick was talking about baseball. Anyway, my whole point is, on the radio, you give me that, I don't even need the TV anymore. I don't even need my damn TV. But again, A, basketball is my first love. B, I work at LSU. C, I work in radio. So, yeah, sorry, not sorry. We still haven't gotten to the Ashley Madison story yet.
Oh, you're doing the interview? You doing the interview?
Doing what interview?
Oh, I thought you were interviewing one of the guys from, or someone from the company. That's not what you were talking about? What? I know you brought it up yesterday, but I thought you were referring to an interview you were going to have rather than just the statistics.
Of what? Oh, yeah. No, that could be after. Chicken, turkey.
Had to play this banger.
$8:56, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. About to get out of here. I feel bad. Like, you should have played that well before George Bell. You can't go for George Bell and that beauty that came out of that trumpet just a minute ago to beans, greens.
I know. I just
no.
Couldn't get off air without.
I'm glad you did.
Right.
I'm glad you did.
I figured it would have been too early.
And normally on the day before Thanksgiving, I do a whole thing with Thanksgiving TV shows. Because there's the number of shows who do great Thanksgiving episodes is amazing, right?
Right.
There's no Thanksgiving music really. There's like three, maybe 4 songs tops. Adam Sandler did one. You got that little, trap mix, whatever. But there's no Thanksgiving songs really.
More Thanksgiving bangers, man.
It's all Christmas music.
Yeah.
And by the way, anybody who clocked out, just skip right over Thanksgiving. I don't even need to know you in my life. I don't even want you in my. Here's the thing: Thanksgiving is an American holiday, and we go from Halloween straight into Christmas, and we skip over Thanksgiving, an American holiday. So if you're going to skip Thanksgiving, you hate America. I'm right there. There's my take. If you're going to skip an American holiday, you hate America. Plain and simple.
We just need more Christmas music, Brian. More Thanksgiving music.
But we have the TV shows, though. For example, I'm a huge fan of The West Wing.
I got you.
2 of the best West Wing episodes ever are Thanksgiving episodes. One where the president calls the Butterball hotline from the Oval Office. Unbelievably funny. Unbelievably funny. And then on the other Thanksgiving episode, President Bartlett sending Charlie out looking for the perfect carving knife. And he brings back like 6-7 different knives. He's like, why is this a big deal? Anyway, but like Friends had great Thanksgiving episodes. Christy and I are hooked on Modern Family now.
Yeah.
They have great Thanksgiving episodes. Everybody's got the Thanksgiving on the TV, but it doesn't translate to the radio.
So you're saying your Christmas tree is not up yet?
Oh, God, no. No. We will go Christmas tree shopping once Advent is here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no. Jumping the gun like that. We're not doing the outside in today because I don't feel like talking about. Well, I tell you what, here's the outside in. Folks in Gonzales, y'all can't clock out yet. You've got runoffs for both chief of police and mayor in Gonzales. That was your outside in. Before we get you out of here, got to remind you one more time that Week 13 in the NFL starts off with a special Thanksgiving Day triple header right here tomorrow. First, the Lions will host the Bears at 11:30, followed by the Cowboys and the Giants at 3:30, followed by the Packers at hosting the Dolphins at 7:20. All day long football right here on Talk 107.3 FM. And also tune in Friday for a special Black Friday edition of the NFL on Talk 107.3 FM when the Chiefs host the Raiders at 2 p.m. So it's not Black Friday, it's Black and Silver Friday with the Raiders. How about that? We're all done. We are going to get out of here. We're taking off tomorrow, taking off Friday. We shall reconvene on Monday and hope to see you then. Stick around. Moon Griffon is up next. Brian Kilmeade will be up and then interrupted by LSU women's basketball right here on Talk 107.3. All right, Facebook. I'm done. I think I'm so spent. I'm so spent. We'll see y'all. Hey, Musso!
Yo.
We'll see y'all later.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.